Hey everybody, welcome to Backseat Filmmaking. I'm your host Seth, and today Tanner, Derrick, and I are going to be taking a look at 2011's Moneyball, written by Steven Zaillian and Aaron Sorkin, and directed by Bennett Miller. Hope you enjoy. All right. You guys ready to rock and roll?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ready to talk about some Moneyball?
Moneyball time. Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
do it. All right, Derrick. Let's.
All right, I'll start us off with a little synopsis for the people at home if you're not familiar with the movie. Moneyball tells the story of Oakland A's general manager Billy Beane and his attempt to assemble a baseball team on a lean budget by employing sabermetrics analysis to acquire new players. Pretty brief synopsis,
Yeah.
but obviously a lot more there, a lot more character stuff.
About to be talking numbers.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking a little ball.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking a
Ball.
little baseball knowledge, if
Little
whatever
ball.
we might know about it.
But in the meantime, I got a little trivia for you fellas.
Okay, trivia time once
Bring
again.
A little pre-production, kind of sprinkled actual movie stuff. So get into it. In 2009, this movie was paused. They lost their director. The director who was going to originally direct it
Ooh.
stepped away. The person who was going to fill in for him is who?
And I knew this too
I don't know.
because there's an original director, like you said, that dropped out. I think it was Steven Soderbergh was the original director, and he dropped out due to creative differences. The second person who came in before they settled on Bennett Miller. Who was it? Tanner, you got anything?
I have nothing.
I only know the Steven Soderbergh part, but I don't know. We're getting our first one. We're starting off on a bad note. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe you have it backwards.
Oh, is it?
The
Okay.
first guy left, and then they were going to have Soderbergh do it.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then
Oh, so I kind of had it right.
yeah,
Damn it.
you had it, but nah.
We'll give us that. We'll give us a half point for that one.
You get no points.
Okay.
Yeah, and his movie was going to be like half documentary with like he wanted Hatterberg and Justice to play themselves.
Right.
So
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
a weird
wow.
vision for the movie. Not at
That
all.
would have been interesting.
Yeah. And who he was going to cast, going into question 2 here, who was going to play Peter Brand in this version of the movie? Do you know this?
Oh.
He was cast. He had done some stuff, like he had done hair and makeup with Brad Pitt.
Oh,
man.
I did see this too. I don't remember it.
Oh man, we really did not do our research apparently, because I swear I saw this
These
too.
are
and
the
I can't
easy
remember.
ones too.
Oh. Okay. Wait. Do we get any types of hints? Any hints at
He's
all?
a comedian.
Dimitri Martin.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I
Mm.
did. Yeah. And I thought that was I was like, that is a very big departure from Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Very different vibes.
Oh,
but
for
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
There you
We're
go.
on- we're on the
Okay,
board.
there
We're on
you
the
go.
board. There we go.
Had to see one go in.
Yeah.
Or
with a hint, to be fair.
Had to put a bat on a ball there. Who is Peter Brand based on? Peter Brand's not a real person.
No, yeah.
Mhm.
Listen, I have the name in my notes. I can't look. Son of a.
If you could get-
Paul DiPodesta, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
correctly,
No,
probably.
it's Paul DiPodesta.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although I know that real guy, Paul, he was actually he was already the assistant GM in
Mhm.
1999, but in the movie they show him or his loosely portrayed character getting acquired in 2002.
Right.
Yeah. And
A little bit different there.
he's with the Browns now, I think, in the NFL.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe at the time of like as of 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
Didn't he go on
Okay.
to be the GM of the A's at some
He
point
was
too?
he was the Dodgers something, I think.
Okay.
Important.
I know. I mean, he was with the MLB for a
Yeah.
long time.
I believe
yeah.
he did actually come from the Cleveland Indians though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? I think that's true.
Yeah. Okay, I mean we already
Did we
we
answer some
already
questions?
kind of know this one just based off the intro, but I still want to say it because it's an interesting thing to talk about. Aaron Sorkin was hired to rewrite the script before he agreed he needed the blessing from the original writer for the screenplay. Who was that writer?
Oh, that was Steven Zaillian,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. He'd written the original draft,
Mm-hmm.
and then when director changes and just kind of overall changes for the movie and pre-production kind of switched around how they were going to go about telling this story, that's when he stepped away, but they were still using his script, and Aaron Sorkin being a friend of his, and they had contacted him to finish the script or basically kind of touch it up in his own kind of style, he was like, I'll only do it if Steven's okay with it.
Yeah.
So he had to get his blessing. He didn't have to, but being a nice guy, being a professional, and Steven was like, yeah, absolutely, go knock yourself out.
Yeah.
So that's why he's still credited
Right.
as one of the writers too.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool in the biz.
Yeah.
Like respect
Yeah.
amongst one another.
All right, we're
We're on a
rocking and rolling. I was gonna
There
say,
you
yeah,
go.
we're
There you go.
killing it.
Let's see if you get this one. This is,
I know.
this
Shouldn't have
is,
said
this is
that.
a fun curveball. Who played the national anthem on the electric guitar to open the 2002 season in the movie?
I just will not know this. I like in my research, I saw the name,
Uh-huh.
kind of looked into it. Don't know the name, Tanner.
Nothing, but I'll throw out a guess. It's gonna be so wrong, but I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
No, I don't even want to now. But no, I
Okay.
No, I was gonna fuck around and say just like someone that plays famously a guitar. But
Oh,
I'm not even gonna say it.
I don't know his notoriety too well, but
Oh, okay.
this is his name. I hope I don't butcher his last name, but it's Joe Satriani.
Okay.
Absolutely shredding that national
Oh,
anthem.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no, he
he has
kills
like
it.
that cool like chrome guitar
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
pretty sweet.
Who were the three pitchers excluded from the movie due to them being acquired by traditional scouting?
Okay. Barry Zito,
And there's one.
Tim Hudson.
There's two.
and then
I believe it's Mike Mulder.
yeah.
Or
You got the last name right.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
it's not
definitely
Mike. It is with an M though, right?
Yeah.
Matt.
Why am I thinking
It's got a K as well.
That almost makes
Oh,
it.
Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mark
what-
Mulder. So
Yeah.
Barry Zito, Mark Mulder,
Like-
Yeah.
and Tim Hudson.
So
Okay.
some
Yeah.
guys that
That's a rotation,
Yeah,
man.
these guys
No, they had
yeah.
a great
these
rotation.
guys were a big reason why they were
Oh,
winning all these games
yeah.
and doing all this stuff, but it didn't go like they didn't find them via sabermetrics. They
Mhm.
No, they had
So, it
a
didn't-
great they drafted really well.
Yeah. They had a great
So,
squad, yeah, but
yeah.
we don't really find that out in the movie. They make them seem like a bunch of scrubs. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that later,
Yeah.
but
yeah, so nice. I was
Uh-huh.
wondering.
we're okay. We're
There you
still
go.
killing it. Good
There you
job.
go.
Nice.
This guy's no ball. And since this one also,
Sorry, Mark.
much like the movies we've reviewed before, does have Oscar nominations.
Mhm.
There were 6 of them. What were the 6?
Ooh, okay, so best actor, Brad Pitt.
Mhm.
Jonah Hill for best supporting.
Yep.
Best picture.
Yep.
Best editing.
Yep.
Best. I'm gonna. Oh, I know best adapted screenplay.
Yep.
And I'm gonna guess. This is not locking in, so we're just discussing. I'm thinking.
No, I'm gonna let you cook, dude.
I know. This last one. I can't remember if it's sound mixing or if it's sound design.
Which one
I'm
are you going
gonna-
with?
I know. I'm gonna have to flip a coin
It
here.
is one of those.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with sound mixing.
Hey,
Let's go.
6
Okay,
for
holy
6.
shit. 6 for
Nice.
6.
Very nice.
Oh man.
And which out of those 6, which one?
I know. You know?
There was just one.
Which of them won?
Oh,
Is
okay.
what I'm
okay.
saying.
How many? Can you tell us how many winners?
No. 'Cause
All right.
I know the answer. I want to know if you know.
No, but I would have a guess. I mean, like
What would be your guess?
well, Brad Pitt, of course, the boy, but I don't think he.
I'm gonna go with 0.
Yeah.
One. No, that was a trick question.
Gave
You
you-
didn't win any
gave
answers.
you a
Yeah,
trick
did not win a
question.
single award. Yeah.
0. Nada.
Nice.
Zilch. But I mean, I don't know the 2011 lineup, but I think the sound mixing was pretty good.
Mhm.
I'd be curious to see what it lost to. I thought the editing was good.
Editing's
for-
really solid. Yeah.
For a baseball movie, I'd say
Yeah.
6 noms is pretty
No,
damn
for
good.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, best picture, like it had the big one, and actor, supporting actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to
yeah.
remember what won that
Especially
year.
at a
but-
time with Jonah Hill. I mean, like
Yeah.
transitioning
'Cause he was
from a
just the-
comedy
yeah, he
actor,
was
like that
just
he
the kid
wanted to
from
get out of
Superbad.
that kind of like typecast kind of character. He didn't want to be just a comedic actor. He
Right.
wanted to get into something else,
and then
Yeah.
getting
got
a
a
nom.
shot. Yeah,
Yeah, getting a nom for
I
that.
like that.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for you guys. I think you batted enough to get into the Hall of Fame.
I think so. Yeah, we missed
So,
the first one. I
yeah.
kind of had it right too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but it better not be in the edit that you had a half point.
No. I'll be fair.
Write
We'll
it if
go
it's
by your rules. I personally am more lenient. I would have given that to you guys, but that's just me. That's just me.
my
so.
scores are mean, and my judging as a trivia
That's
host
fair.
is
That's how
mean.
it should be. If I'm being realistic, we got it wrong.
Well, thanks for playing.
Yeah, of course.
And if is there anything else you guys found that you wanted to talk about in this?
Honestly, pre-production, I had some stuff, but that's all the big stuff. If I'm being honest, kind of script changes, director changes, just kind of how they went about getting this off the ground, and then it being an adaptation. What is the title of the book? It's
Moneyball, the story, how to win an unfair game.
Yeah.
I think.
The author
Michael Lewis, I believe.
Yeah, Michael Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even that, like, just going and getting the rights for the book and everything, and again, it kind of initially approaching who they're gonna have adapt this. What I thought was interesting. Interestingly enough, we had talked about him. I think I had talked about him previously in our No Country for Old Men video. Producer Scott Rudin. Yeah, go watch it, please. Episode 3. Scott Rudin, a film producer on No Country for Old Men, who approached the Coen brothers for adapting Cormac McCarthy's book to make it into a film. He was also the producer behind this. So it seems like he has a track record of approaching directors or writers to adapting books into films.
He's the guy.
He's your guy, apparently.
Have anything, I guess, still like the making of at the time of when Bennett Miller got approached to direct this. At the time, he was working on a movie for years that he couldn't get going, just due to like funding and whatnot. And he eventually just had to, kind of just stop. And then he ended up just doing this movie. But well, we actually do get to see that movie being made eventually. Foxcatcher.
Foxcatcher, that's right. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Because just a quick yay or nay on Foxcatcher.
I've actually never seen it.
Never seen it?
Yeah, I'm familiar
Right,
with it.
Carell,
and I'll throw it on the wheel because I've only seen it the one time, like the year it came out. So
pretty good.
They're trying for some awards in it for sure.
Okay,
but it's not.
I've only ever heard good things. So yeah, it's definitely on my list.
It's an interesting, like, it's one of those that you're Googling everything about it after because it's a true story as well. But this isn't a Foxcatcher episode. This
no,
is
but I didn't want to mention that because he did this movie instead of trying to continue doing that one. Yeah. So that's
nice. Cool. At least he got to still make it too. So that's nice.
I do have another one.
Let's hear it.
Edward Hanley. He was the he was part of the costume department, key costumer. He had a great relationship with the MLB, and so he like working with them and stuff. He was able to accurately get all the uniforms correctly done in 2002.
Oh, for sure. Even
he was a big part of that.
To like the training camp or the spring training.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I
know the
BP jerseys.
Yeah, the BP jerseys and the BP hat with the elephant on it.
Yeah, we had talked about during our film or
really
during our screening.
Yeah.
So
that's what I told him.
Even
like,
I noticed in some of the games too, where they have some shots of someone hitting. They have the little elephant patch on their sleeve too. I was like, wow, this is really some crazy attention to detail. Very era specific too for the A's. So
you said Edward Hanley.
Edward Hanley.
Shout out.
Shout out Edward.
Big shout out. Yeah.
He also was able to get like the authentic jacket that Art Howell, the actual manager of the A's, wore. Like he was known for wearing that jacket like all the time during his tenure with the A's. And Edward he called up like the spring training complex in Arizona. And he talked with someone, and they were able to find in like one of their closets, like 15 authentic jackets with the number 18 patch.
That's
of
crazy.
So I thought that was pretty cool too. They were, I mean, this movie is beautifully like
it's
made with everything, like locker room. I mean, I know they shot at the locations of these stadiums and whatnot, but it looks good. It looks great. Yeah. The uniforms look great. I mean, as accurate as can be. So
honestly, with that being mentioned, I'm surprised as far as the Oscar nominations that costume design it's omitted from that category. I'm curious what else
for the baseball. They're like, oh yeah, you just got a uniform.
Yeah, it's just some baseball jerseys.
Not having an idea that we're trying to make it specific to this era, 2002, authentic. So heck yeah, nice. Yeah. Do you have anything else?
I don't think I think that's as much as that covers everything as far as I found for pre-production.
Cool. All
What do you
right.
say? We get into this movie
Let's
now?
get into this
Start breaking
lovely
it down?
movie.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Talk ball.
Let's talk some
Let's
ball.
talk some ball.
And this
Some-
movie starts with ball. Starts with the 2001 postseason. The A's are against the Yankees,
Mhm.
and I believe it was just a closeout game for the Yankees. I don't know if it was a game 5 or if they were up like 2-1 in the series.
Yeah, I don't know how the series played out, but you're
Either
right.
way,
It's
this
the
is
last game.
elimination for the
Yeah.
A's.
Mhm.
Once again, falling short, and you get this great shot of Bean just in this Coliseum alone on the first base, like kind of when it's rounding towards home,
Mhm.
just clicking on and off a radio, and then it grabs you immediately. Like this movie is just already like, okay, like we're looking at him just you're getting everything you need to know about this, about how he views baseball, how he views his team, and you're just like, okay, this is our guy. Let's let him just drive this movie. You guys have anything on this
Well, I
scene?
mean, just for clarity's sake, as you mentioned, elimination game for the A's. They're in New York.
right.
So when we're introduced to Billy Bean, he's in Oakland at the
Mhm.
Coliseum
Mm-hmm,
alone in an empty stadium,
Yeah.
basically in the dark,
mm-hmm.
in the stands, like you had mentioned, kind of on that first base side, somewhat behind home plate, little just chilling in the seats by himself, listening to the game on the radio, and he's he's frustrated.
Mhm.
He's kind of in disbelief as to what is happening, and it's just one of those things. It's the end of the year. It's just like, well, this is the last game of the season. This sucks, and like you said, he's clicking it on and off because he almost doesn't want to. He doesn't want to hear it. He knows how, and then we get
And it kind of crashes out.
yeah.
Well,
Oh
he
yeah.
hates
Well,
losing more than he enjoys winning.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he ends up leaving. Game ends. He leaves the stadium, and then he's alone in his truck, and he just starts slamming the radio, and he throws it out the window. Gets out of his truck, and then he goes over and stomps out the radio just to make sure
Just
he's
a
just,
full blown crash out.
yeah.
A
So
great season though. 102
No,
wins.
for sure.
yeah, that's great. 102
But like
wins.
you said, he hates it more than
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah.
He hates losing more than he loves
and
winning.
we'll talk about a specific line later, even further reinforcing this idea of like, yeah, they had 102 wins. They made the playoffs. Awesome. They still lost.
Yeah.
So
And then we get to him talking with the owner about
Mm-hmm.
he needs more money because they're losing. I believe when it's like cutting to this scene, they're
already the
they're
off-season.
dropping the banners of
Oh, okay.
the players,
Yeah.
right? I believe that's how it goes. And then he's talking with the owner. I mean, owner's like, I can't get you that money. And also, this movie does start out with you reading how the payroll for the Yankees
Right,
compared
yeah.
to the A's is like, I think the Yankees had like 118 million or
It's
something.
something
And it's
around
like
it's
to
roughly like 3
30
times the
million.
amount.
Yeah.
As far as the
yeah.
payroll.
So it's
for-
just like the book says, it's not an even playing field because there's no cap in baseball.
right.
So you can just buy, as we're seeing today.
Yeah.
But also spend the money, A's.
Yeah, that's-
'cause
I mean,
nothing
that's
else.
the thing.
Nothing has changed.
We're
Right,
talking
no,
about
that's true.
billionaire
Yeah.
owners. We're
That's true.
talking about people. They have the money
Oh, yeah.
to spend. They just don't want to.
Yeah,
And,
that's true.
and
Bring
again,
in the salary floor.
yeah, honestly,
Make these guys spend, man.
make them spend. And
Salary floor. That's funny. Yeah. So basically, the A's owner is a cheapo.
Mm.
Doesn't want to spend it. Says he doesn't have it, and then we get from there. He returns home, and then there's not really anything to.
this is a small scene.
Yeah.
I had noted in there that he's on the phone. I don't know with who in particular, but they're talking about Damon. They're talking about the
Yeah,
Damon
it's his
trade.
agent.
Oh right,
Okay.
right.
It's Damon's agent.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was talking about how like he had an offer,
Yeah.
and then
Mm.
they seemed to like kind of be like cool with that
Mm.
mutually, and then Damon took that offer to Boston. And
I think it was quite literally over either 250,000 or
I
500,000.
think it was 500.
500,000. Yeah, I think he wanted to. I think he signed for 7.5,
yeah,
Mm.
but he was asking for 8, and he said I think he said if you go to 8, we got a deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't do it.
And,
Yeah.
and
That's
see,
crazy.
Yeah, and it's obviously that's a big trade. Damon goes on to be a Red Sox legend and winning World Series himself in 2004. But that's just a quick scene where he's on the
It's a
phone.
sign,
with
right.
that.
You think you said trade?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Signing.
Yeah, free agency.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. I'll probably do that a lot. I don't know. I am not great with the terminology, but I know the difference, and I might just mess that up. But thank you for the correct. It is a big difference.
and then so now we get the awesome scouting team.
Yeah.
Um, which by the way, I don't believe the head one is, but the rest of the guys are real scouts.
Okay.
They brought them in to like consult kind of, and then they were just kind of like, well, why don't we just have them?
Yeah.
Because they were doing a pretty good job just being natural.
I wonder if that's a carryover from that original kind of Soderbergh direction where it's like they wanted most of the people just to play themselves.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
Save some money too.
Right.
Like, hey.
Because I mean, most of them, just some hilarious baseball one-liners in this scene.
Oh yeah.
So like the big thing of this scene is they're going about their business like normal off-season stuff. Another off-season, let's turn the page. How do we replace these guys? They're talking about the players that they're looking at, and you just get Billy over there he's doing this little like hand motion, and they're just
kind of talking
and then they
nonsense.
finally see that he kind of leans up on the table, da 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 da. And they're like, what, Billy? And he just like, guys, we have to do something. Like, we can't, you're trying to replace these guys with you can't replace these guys with one. So he's basically just trying to get them to see a different way of scouting. And like, this isn't like, we have to try something different because we just keep falling short. And
they got to replace a 2001 AL MVP and Jason Giambi.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
And is it this it's this scouting thing where they're talking about how, because I think before I do the Billy hand motion there, they're talking, it's like what about this guy, like ugly girlfriend? Ugly girlfriend means no confidence.
They're talking that it's all these old heads talking about like, oh, I like this guy, he's got a real classic swing. They're not talking any statistics.
Throws the head at the barrel, pops off the bat, whole
this guy's got a good face.
Like,
what does that mean?
One of them mentions like, eye candy, like he passes like the eye candy test.
It's that marketability, but it's like, can he play baseball? Because is he going to win us games? They're not looking at that. They're looking at the wrong things. And it's this old school mentality of like, I do like that Billy has a line kind of towards the end of this conversation. I think it's in this scene, if I'm not mistaken, where he mentions, he's like, if we try to play like the Yankees in here, we will lose the Yankees out there. Again, they're not playing on the same playing field. The money disparity is astronomical, so you cannot think like them. You cannot go about the way that they process scouting and everything is completely separate from how you guys have to go about it, and that's what he's trying to get across.
But you mentioning that those guys are like the real deal of like scouts and whatnot does make sense, because there's that guy with the hearing aid.
I think this is a later scene, but maybe we'll save it for then.
But I know I probably will forget when we get there.
I was trying to think. I think we're all thinking the same thing.
It just seemed like he forgot his line. Like midway, it just felt like he was like, he said it like he was going with it, and then he kind of like paused a little bit and then continued. I think he just like kind of forgot what
I think that's at a later. Well, I think that's once. Well, we'll
I know you're right. That's when Peter's
exactly. Yeah. But I do want to talk about that for sure, because it's funny.
So
that makes
that really set a good ground that. Okay, as the viewer, you're saying, okay, Billy's against the scouting team. Scouting team is the old bad way of doing things, and they're curmudgeons, and they're set in their ways. And I'm just, what's the one word that I'm not saying right now about?
I liked curmudgeons.
Curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to say curmudgeons.
I'm sticking to old heads. I don't know. They're just they're very stubborn. They're very Thank
you, stubborn. That's such an easy word that it just went right.
Okay. They're like two together.
Yes,
They're like, Billy, what do you want us to do? Like, what difference do you want us to do? Like, in terms of like how we think about the players that we acquire or look at, like what different, like what can we do differently?
This is
be better.
This is Oakland A's baseball. We're gonna scout how Oakland A's. This is just how we do things. Just let us do our job. And it's like, or your job isn't working out because we're not. We made the playoffs, but we're not reaching that ultimate goal. We're not winning the World Series. So what needs to change? And I like and with ownership too, right? Ownership doesn't want to give him the money. The scouting team is against him trying to change the process. So already his back's against the wall. He's coming off of a loss. So for Billy, you're establishing this guy is just kind of like, he's getting screwed over left and right. And and you're starting to already kind of sympathize with this whole situation.
And it's interesting when we talk about the people that get left out of this movie that make these scouts look like they don't know what they're doing. I know. And like, you kind of like, it's dramatized. Every Hollywood adaptation of a true story has their dramatization of it. But for the fact that there are guys, real studs, that went on to have long, great MLB careers, that are just not mentioned that these guys probably scouted. Like it's
Well, they
you
did.
feel bad for the real people that were in there and they're just
I know
kind
if
of
they saw. Yeah, if they
Yeah.
saw
they're
it,
like
like
this
what
is
they
a bunch
thought.
of like this is bull.
Yeah,
Like, are you kidding me?
We had Barry Zito,
Yeah.
2002's Cy Young
Yeah.
Award
Yeah.
winner. We had, Miguel Tejada. I know we'll talk about these players
Yeah.
later, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, and then now we get our first flashback of high school Billy
Mhm.
being a stud out there. I'll every time I'm watching that bald dude that is watching him take BP, and he's like, he just keeps watching the hits, and he finally goes, "This son of a bitch is going in the first round."
Is he the one wearing the Mets jacket that you like?
I think so,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think he's wearing that.
Yeah, it's like I like that
vintage,
jacket.
Yeah, vintage Mets jacket, little bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That always gets me. And then it cuts to
watch a dude take BP, and you're like, yeah, this is our fucking guy. That's crazy.
yeah. So then we get Billy at the Indians office. He's going to meet up about acquiring a player, and he gets into the office with Shapiro, and he's got like everybody that would be a decision maker in this meeting with him.
Yeah.
There's so many dudes.
Yeah.
Literally
I know.
this ensemble of guys in the background that are just like there to spectate
It's
this
hilarious.
deal go down. It's very intimidating.
There's not a square inch wasted in that room.
Honestly, yeah, there's dudes standing up off to the side.
And it's honestly it's a great way to introduce Brand Peter
Mm.
I agree.
to throw him in like a nothing amongst these people,
Right.
And like obviously it's Jonah Hill,
Right, yeah.
and like that's you catch it, but I just think it's a fun way of being like this guy's a part of this team, but you don't know that you're
Well,
about
even
to
the way he's dressed, right? He's wearing a full suit and tie.
right.
Everyone else is in a polo and
Yeah.
khakis,
Mhm.
for the most part, real like business cash. And he's rocking a full suit. He just looks out of place. He doesn't look like a former player. He doesn't look like he has any association with baseball.
It's his first
really-
job ever.
Yeah.
As is
Yeah.
established later. So you're immediately kind of drawn to that. And then explain how this kind of meeting goes with Mark Shapiro.
We get the first of many times we see Billy just munching down on something.
Yeah.
He's taken into the bowl of nuts or whatever's there.
Yeah,
He's
it's like
just
just
he
some
just
nuts
keeps
on his
laying it up
desk.
and popping them in one by one. Loves to eat in this movie. Loves to
Oh,
eat in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
no, that's the thing.
Brad
That's
Pitt
the thing,
thing.
yeah.
In this movie, he just goes like he's eating
ham.
the whole movie. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
And so he's trying to get Rincon, or he's trying to do a bunch of different things.
Mm.
But he's specifically trying to get Ricardo Rincon, and I think that's the player that Peter advises not to.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And he whispers. It's like the telephone of whisper in the ear.
Yeah.
And then the other guy comes up to him. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so Rincon's gonna be a no.
Yeah.
He's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
He's like,
So-
this is how Cleveland Indians,
Yeah,
do
this
business.
is how we do
Kinda,
it.
yeah.
We're
This is how
doing
we do
business here.
business.
Yeah, he's like, this is how we do it in Cleveland. It's like, why am I here? Like, you could have.
And he's like kind of looking around the
yeah.
room, like looking at all these, like,
Yeah.
what are we doing
I thought,
here?
yeah, that not. He wasn't saying a lot, but he was saying everything with his body language, acting. Like you see a lot in this movie. Is
Oh,
pretty,
yeah.
Yeah.
pretty fantastic.
So then this next scene,
Yeah,
right?
Tanner, why don't you talk about him walking through the maze of cubicles?
Oh, dude, I love this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that he's going over to see where Peter is, right? And because he just saw him him being the one to like make this final decision on the player, and so he's like, who's this guy? But I love the way he comes in and he immediately sees Peter across the sea of cubicles, and Peter sees him. He kind of like sees him
Peering
walk in,
over.
and he's just like looking, and they all they kind of lock eyes, and he's just like following him, walking to his cubicle. And he approaches him, and he was just like, he just asking him like what he does. Like, what
Who
do
are
you do?
you?
Yeah, who are you?
I'm
He's
Peter
like,
Brand.
I'm Peter Brand. Yeah, I'm Peter Brand, and he asks him again, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
what do you?
well, and then he's like, who are you? He's like,
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
Peter
No,
Brand.
whose nephew are
Yeah,
you?
he's-
yeah. But yeah, he's asking him like, like what exactly happened in there? Like what do you do? And like he's just kind of beating around the bush because he doesn't really have like a set like position that I think they like.
I think he
say.
says personal assistant to Mark Shapiro, to
Okay,
Mr.
yeah.
Shapiro or something.
Yeah.
I think he's clearly added. I think Shapiro at least is interested in sabermetrics,
Mm.
Well,
But-
enough to
but he's
exactly,
not
to
gonna
consider his
go full
opinion.
blown on it. Like, because if you were, you wouldn't let him leave. the building.
Right.
So
He also wouldn't. I mean, he's in a cubicle amongst all
he
these
would
other
have an
people, but
office.
clearly he has a, more say than these people. He's not the face of it, right? Shapiro would be. He starts to run it past Shapiro, but it's like it's coming from Peter. These decisions based off of data analysis.
Yeah, because he asks you, well, why do you listen to you?
Yeah.
He's like,
Well,
yeah,
I don't think Mr. Shapiro listens to me all that
He's
much.
like, you just did. I
You
just watched
did.
it.
Yeah. So then, they step away from the cubicles and go to
The
more private,
garage.
garage to kind of talk ball, talk
dude,
biz.
I love this scene so much.
Yeah, and then so that's basically where Peter breaks the ice and says like why like what he looks at to like consider a player to keep or not or whatever.
Yeah, telling him that he's like, I think it's a good thing that you got Damon off your books. He's like, what you can do with that $7.5 million is like amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, is this when he's saying there's so many overlooked people? Is this when he's doing like?
I think that's what he mentions. Like there's like an island full of misfit toys.
Yeah,
because they get
it's
overlooked
great
because
monologue.
of many factors. Whether it's just like the way they pitch is kind of weird looking and not, it's just weird, and so they just don't see how he can be effective by pitching so odd by like submarine or sidearm, and then just a bunch of factors why some of these guys like just they don't have the look, right?
Yeah.
They don't have the eye test.
I think he said something specifically along the lines of like people have there's an imperfect understanding of where runs come from.
Yes.
Too. And he's like trying to explain to him that like this whole system is flawed. The way people go about paying for players, how much they're willing to pay. I mean, there's so many factors that genuinely do factor in outside of statistics, wins, or any category, like any quantifiable amount. Because like realistically, there is a marketability factor as far as like putting asses in seats, selling tickets to games.
Yeah.
If you have a marketable player, sure. But at the same time, are you still overpaying for them? Because also, what's more marketable, a single player or a team that can win games and go to the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, I mean, if your team is winning games, people are gonna go.
If your team sucks and you have one good player that people want to come see, that's not gonna last throughout. Like they say later on too. There's something about like I mean, baseball seasons are what 162 games, right?
Basically 9 months.
There's the dog days of the summer.
Yeah.
And then
not everyone's showing up.
Excluding playoffs.
Exactly. So not everyone's showing up for every single game. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to do better than just a single player you can market because they're a big name. You have to win games. You have to make the process better.
Yeah, Peter's basically the guy to Billy, like, oh, okay, this is the difference maker of how I could, move forward with the new thinking and implementation of our franchise and how we go about signing these players to make up the loss of players that we did this past season. So
and Billy's clearly considering all that as he's being explained to it, and then he leaves, and what does he say? He's like,
oh, because he tells him that he has a degree in economics from Yale. And then Billy says, Yale economics baseball. You're funny, Pete.
It just dips out. Pete's just sitting there like, what the hell just happened?
And then we get another flashback to the scouts at the dinner table with him, telling him, your son's got 5 tools. And
he's with his parents.
Hit for average, run, throw, everything that you need to be a stud in the MLB.
It's the Mets.
Yeah, the Mets, yeah. And they're like, and his mom's so sweet. She's like, well, he just got an offer from Stanford. He can do both, right? And then he's like,
no, ma'am, he's going to have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
Right? Something
he's like, so unfortunately, you'd have to choose one or the other.
Yeah. And
I love the way that guy talks.
Yeah.
I mean, he puts it in like very plain terms. Like, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. Like, this would be a full-time profession. Like, he'd have to.
Yeah. The great line in this is he's like, Billy, he's like, we're all told that we can't play the children's game anymore, whether it be at 40 or at 18. We're all told. He's like, you have an opportunity here to do something special. It's like, if I was this 18-year-old kid, too, I'd be like, let's go play in the MLB, dog. Like, screw college.
Well, and he has a check, too.
Yeah.
And he's like, and we think this number represents how we feel about that. And kinda,
And then his dad is like,
he's supportive.
Yeah. He's like, because he's like, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, buddy. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So that's that scene. And then Billy's sipping on a beer and he calls up
kicked
Pete.
up.
Yeah, calls up Pete, and he asks him. He said, "So, what round would you have drafted me in?" And he said, "What?" He's like, "When I left, you looked me up in your little computer. What round would you have drafted me in?" And do you know what he says?
Yeah, because he's trying to not answer the question, basically, even though, Billy called it. He did
he's
look
trying to
him
beat
up.
around the bush.
He looked him up, and he's kind of like, well, he's like, come on, just tell me. And he's like, I would have drafted you ninth round, no signing bonus.
No signing
You
bonus.
probably would have declined and gone to Stanford. And then he's like, is that when we get another?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does that in the office, right? Or when he's in Cleveland.
Yeah. Pack your bags, Pete. I just bought you from the Indians.
So he literally, he's telling Pete like, hey, you're coming to work for me now.
He's the assistant GM now.
Yeah.
Crazy. What a come up. You just met him once and he's like, all right, that's my new assistant GM.
So now we get Pete. Great shot of him walking down the tunnel in the Coliseum.
I want to point out, you had mentioned earlier, this is actually when we get the banners falling.
Is it? Yes, you're right. Because he's seeing it. He's seeing it.
He's walking, and then it's
which is a great like transition to like that subtlety of that kind of that under narrative of like out with old and with the new.
Exactly. Yeah. It is turning the page here. Now we're into a new era of Oakland A's baseball.
Yeah.
Who are the play? It's it's Damon.
I never know how to say
Giambi
that.
Inrenhausen?
Yeah, Inren. Yeah.
Okay.
That name, when I read it, I'm like, that's just letters mashed together. No disrespect to the guy, but I can't attempt it.
I'm not familiar with this game, if I'm being completely honest. I only know him from this movie.
I only knew Giambi.
I knew Giambi and Damon, of course.
So he's at the Coliseum, gets set up in his office. He gets set up well before Billy shows up.
He's got his own office.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Big come up. He's not a cubicle. He's got his own office now, baby.
I can just pick. I want the scene of him setting up his stuff and getting all like just a deleted scene of that.
Yeah, like how did he go about decorating it?
And then Billy comes in, coffee on, and she says, "Yep." And then he goes into Pete's office, right? And he's already got everything so tidy and like organized, and he's just ready to get to work. He's
ready to rock and roll. Yeah.
And he's like, "You asked me to. Here's the player evaluations you asked me to do. I asked you to do 3.
Yeah.
How many did you do?
47. He's like, actually 51. I don't know why I just lied right now.
I lied there.
And he Billy like looks at him like, damn, like. All right, you know, like he's happy that he's like, you know, going about the business in like a very initiative type of way, you know, like taking initiative.
I do want to point out something that I noticed as far as their initial interaction. So when Billy enters the office, clearly Peter's like, you know, just excited to be there. New opportunities already set up. He got there early to set up his office and everything. Well, Peter's like, hey, Mr. Bean, you know, he like reaches out his hand to shake his hand, and Billy has his arms at his side, you know, like how he always stands with his hands on his hips, and he kind of almost like, oh, you know, kind of awkwardly, like he's not even thinking to like, he has this disconnect from other people in general. I feel like he doesn't get close to anybody, and even something as a professional, you'd approach your new assistant GM, especially in this case, you know, you guys just give this guy a huge promotion. You know, shake his hand at the very least, and he's almost kind of just like, all right, let's get down a bit. He's so ready to like get moving that he's skipping the formalities.
And he plays that ex-athlete well.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's that stance and it's the approach to all this. He's very pragmatic. He's not thinking like,
he's not
hey Peter, how you doing? You getting comfortable? He doesn't care about any of that. Let's get down to brass tacks and let's start talking ball. Well, Peter's more than ready to talk ball too, but you know, he's also excited for the opportunity and stuff.
So Peter gets
very quickly before I know you.
You want some
I was
of that?
Gonna say
some of that action.
Already.
So we get the scout, the second room or second meeting with the scouts. I believe this is the last time we see all of them together too. But Peter gets brought in, doesn't get introduced.
No,
he just gets brought in, and they're going about their business like normal. And then I don't know how it gets interrupted to get pointed to Jonah Hill talking, but I know that's when you get him like snapping and pointing at,
because he's telling them about like basically what they have to look for now. Because we're trying to replace he adds like the sum of their like the people that left on base percentage, right. And that's like the key stat that they're in this movie that they're looking at, which is a pretty basic stat to look at. So
are you talking about on base
percentage?
Base percentage,
So I mean it's nothing like, you're going a deep dive in these analytics here. It's just on base. But I mean, the way this movie portrays it is like, this is like a thing that most people are just like kind of looking at average and whatnot. And
RBIs is a big one that they
RBIs,
harken on.
But if these guys get on base, that could
like tossing names on the.
Yeah, but that's when he points to him.
Yeah,
like,
this is
a
little bit after the fact.
What do we need, like on base average to
he's
to
asking
replace?
the scouts, and he's like, because the head scout, the guy who's the most apprehensive with Billy, he's like, Billy, we're all very aware of what the problem here is, and he's like, okay, great, then tell me what the problem is. So he goes and he's like, he's like, well, we have to replace Giambi, we have to replace, and he's like, nope,
Yeah.
What's the problem? And he goes to the next guy, and he's like, we have to replace however many RBIs, and and then same problem. It's always been, and so, and then that's when he goes to Peter, and it's like that's not the problem.
Do you want me to speak? Yeah, when I point at you.
Because he's not even looking. He's like writing something down, and he's kind of just pointing at him, and he's like doing something. He's like, "Do you want me to?" Yeah, when I point at you.
So, and then he's just throwing names up there that they're like, who? Like, what?
Oh,
what is this?
What are we doing, Billy?
Yeah, he's like David Justice.
Yeah, old man
Billy,
Justice.
Billy,
old man Justice. The Yankees are
Billy, he's a good ball player, but his years are well beyond him. He doesn't have any legs. I can't remember what he says exactly.
He's like too cocky and stuff.
He's like Steinbrenner's so frustrated with his performance, he's willing to pay half his salary just to get rid of him. He's like, exactly, so he's cheap.
Yeah.
And then when he mentions Jeremy Giambi, and they're talking about his off-field problems, and he's like, but he gets on base a whole lot. And then who is it that he's like, they're talking about the on base percentage, and he's like, guys, if I have to point at Pete again, about why do we want? And they're like, oh, he gets on base a lot. I think that might be Hatterberg, because they're like,
yeah,
who? That's when they're like, who?
Yeah,
Who's this guy?
For first base.
Yeah,
Hatterberg, he's a catcher or former catcher. He doesn't play first base.
He's got nerve damage.
Yeah, his arm is shot. Yeah, he can't throw the ball. But it's like, okay, well, first base, you're not really throwing the ball around the field a whole lot. So it's like, yeah, that'll work if he could build some ground balls.
And that gets us to our question from Ron Washington.
Shout out Ron.
Yeah. Not actual crazy. Ron Washington, of course, but an actor portraying Ron Washington.
Here's the thing, Billy. Which one of them guys is going to play first?
And he kind of
or not one of those guys plays first base.
And he looks at the board, and then it cuts to our next scene, and this is where we get Hatterberg, Scott Hatterberg in his house.
Was that scout scene? Is that when we got Fabio?
Oh yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I'm now skipping what we talked about.
Yeah.
The how these.
I don't know.
So
I can't ever remember how it gets set up.
We didn't know. I didn't know that the scouts were actual scouts. Yeah. So this is funny that Tanner during our screen was like, it almost felt like that guy forgot his lines. Yeah. So it makes sense. Very old guy, got a hearing aid in and everything. Like, this guy's very old, and he's like, guys, you're forgetting that Billy isn't. He's like saying like he's in charge here. We're just offering suggestions, and at the end of the day, he makes decisions or something. He only answers to himself. And he kind of like that's where it's like almost like forgetting his lines, like and to God, like,
to God,
what the hell? All right, don't get a little too dramatic here, you know what I mean? But it was so funny where he's like, well, at least this guy's on Billy's side. Oh, yeah. See my guy backing him up.
And I don't know how it gets brought up, but he goes something about Fabio gets brought up. Who's Fabio?
Who's Fabio?
He's a shortstop.
Oh, because he says you guys are treating this like we're selling jeans.
Yeah.
We're not looking for Fabio out
there. There you go.
Who's Fabio?
Who's Fabio? All right, so he goes gets recruits Hattie. You got you get the meme that's been rolling around of Billy talking to Hattie, and he's like, "We want you to play first base." I only ever played catcher, and he's like, it's not that hard. Tell him, Ron, it's incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Anything worth doing is. And so
I do have something on that. I watched a real interview with the real Hatterberg.
Scott, yeah.
Yeah, and he said that's a bit Hollywood of how it happened. They didn't come to his house, but he did get a phone call from the real Billy when it happened during Christmas Eve of that 2001 off season. And he said, but the reaction of him thinking Billy was crazy for him wanting to play first was real. He thought he was insane. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that in the movie, it's clearly around Christmas time. You see Christmas decorations in the house and stuff. I do want to point out something I always get a kick out of in movies and TV, and I pointed this immediately when I saw it when me and Tanner were watching it. When we're introduced to Hattie in his house, and he's sitting on his couch, and he's kind of just like, whatever. His wife's in the kitchen or like in the dining room, presumably like crunching numbers, doing taxes. She looks like frustrated. I love that in movies and TV where it looks like they have to. It's visual shorthand that they're struggling.
Yeah.
Financially, that they're like someone's at the dinner table and they're kind of like going over all these taxes and stuff and
bills,
going over bills, and they're like crunching numbers. Dude, it's very quick. I always get a kick out of that. I don't know why I think it's so dumb when they do that. It's such a weird cliche.
Then the mom is behind in the kitchen or something, shoving the daughter to go out into go out there. You just go get dad. You got any kids?
It's just so I sent this to your agent.
He's just so not where he's like, yeah, a daughter.
Yeah, a daughter. So listen, I already sent this to your agent.
So honestly, like, it's a funny like bit, but it rolls perfectly into the next scene of him getting his daughter from his ex-wife's house.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you had a fun tidbit about the
so
new husband.
So Billy shows up to his ex-wife's house, and very, very, it's like a very modern kind of like mansion, very nice place, nice spot she's got. And she has this new husband, Alan, and this guy is like he's a really nice dude, very soft spoken, very zen. He's wearing his little sandals and his like flowy clothes and stuff, his long hair. And he's like, so Billy, he's clearly not a sports guy. He's not a guy's guy, if you will. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just think it's funny that it's like compared to Billy, Billy's the Chad in this situation. It's almost kind of intimidating to Alan. But Alan, the actor who portrays Alan, and he's uncredited in the film, but I found this out, director Spike Jonze. I don't know why he did this. I couldn't find any information if he's just friends with Bennett Miller or anybody that worked on this movie. This guy has directed like big movies, like Her, for example, great film. Don't know why he's in this movie. Uncredited, by the way. Again, I don't know.
That's hilarious.
I know he like
Small
pops
role.
into other movies too. Like,
Okay.
Like he'll do cameo spots. I think he just likes
Maybe he just likes
just jumping in there for a
pop
little
in.
bit.
Maybe he was filming something at the same
Yeah,
time. And he's
he's just
like,
like,
can I get in on this?
Yeah.
Just uncredited. I won't even be in the
Yeah.
credits. You don't have to pay me. I'll just
Yeah.
like whatever. Just shoot for a
The
day.
guy just loves ball. He loves
I
film.
guess he does, and he's really funny as this Alan guy. This new husband.
And then we get his daughter a real funny scene that she just called me on her cell. She's coming up the hill right now. She's got a cell phone. 12-year-old with a cell phone. And then he's like, yeah, we should have talked to you about it. And he's like, yeah, well, her mom and I will talk about it. And just the tension in the room at that
And
point is just
Alan's kind of like,
yeah,
of course, and
okay.
just kind of sits,
Okay.
and just kind of just sits back down like, oop.
And so then you get introduced to the sweet relationship of Billy and his daughter going to a guitar store, and she's picking out a guitar, starts strumming it and humming the song. And he's like encouraging her to actually sing it.
Yeah.
And like just him just still being blinded by like, who cares? Like it kind of goes to show like Billy, it kind of is exactly how he operates in general managing, is like, I don't care about what anybody else is going to say or think. I'm going to do this. So for him to just be like, just sing, like, what's the big deal? To his daughter, she's like,
he loves his daughter.
no,
and
for
that's-
sure. But like
yeah.
for her to like, I just don't think that I think he's just like trying to get that drive out of her to like
That confidence,
you got it. Like
'Cause he's clearly a confident guy, or
Yeah.
at least he is in certain situations. And I think, trying to pass that along to his daughter, where it's like, you got to believe in yourself a little bit. You have to bet on yourself,
Mhm.
kind of thing. And I love that.
And then you get the little snippet of her little song there, and it's a very
And we get kind of a glimpse of how easily that kind of breaks this barrier of this hardened Billy being this cool guy, whatever. And he's kind of just like in awe of his daughter, like singing and playing the guitar, like, oh my God, like this is like beautiful.
yeah.
This is like so impressive. Like I can't, I can't believe you can just do this.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very sweet scene.
Very wholesome, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you get another montage of pretty much Billy's downfall as a player. He's K'ing for the Mets. He's just not even sniffing at the zone. Like he can't put a bat on a ball. And then it goes and shows him as an A, and like him being like, I'm not a baseball player. I'm a scout. Like I'm gonna do that. And they're like, you sure? He's like, yeah. and then you get the head scout coming and confronting Billy on what he's doing and how he's going to set him up for failure this season. And Billy's just kind of like, dude, like I'm doing this, like either get on with it or not. And
Is adapt or die.
adapt or die. Yeah, you're
And he
right.
like claps and then he's like,
Yeah,
adapt or die.
Yeah.
It's just like it's
Yeah.
just laying it out there for him. He's like, I'm doing this.
This guy like had that weird like little tension thing where he like
yeah.
tries to like grab him.
he's like, I'm not gonna fire you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fire you.
And he pushes him up, and he
Now I'm gonna fire you.
Yeah.
He tells him to f. He
like,
f
"Fuck
use
you,
him.
Billy."
Yeah.
That's a weird.
Super
interaction.
No,
weird.
yeah, the way he like,
Yeah, he
he,
like
like-
kind of like
Yeah,
knocked his
super-
arm off. Like it was
super
so
weird.
I
weird.
took it as him like trying to sun him, where it's like,
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not
yeah.
gonna fire you, and then it's kind of like, fuck you, I don't need you to fire me, I'm quitting, you know,
Yeah.
kind of shit, like
Yeah.
kinda trying to sun him,
Yeah,
slaps his hand on him.
yeah,
Now I'm gonna fire you, you know. So
yeah.
I
So
was
he's
out of there
gone.
anyways.
He's gone, but we do hear. I believe we hear his voice on the radio talking.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
I
didn't
think that's
notice
him
that.
when he's in a little bit.
Okay.
So now we get spring training, and we get to see how this ragtag group of analytics is going to look on a baseball field, and kind of Art Howe is just kind of like, what's going on here a little bit. And, you know, you get, I think the big thing in this is it's not a very long scene, but you get Hattie taking grounders and
Mhm.
like picking the ball at first, and they're like, there you go, Scotty H, picking machine.
Oh, Ron Washington, by the way, he had a big part of teaching the real Hattenberg of how to play first base, and
Yeah.
he's actually known around the league. I mean, he's been around forever as a player and coach, and he's actually known to be like this defensive like god of a teacher for a
Mhm.
lot
I
of
remember-
players around the league.
I remember watching this movie, and this was like one of the first times that I like really wanted to like watch movies analytically, because
Hmm.
obviously at the time this movie came out, Ron Washington is the Ranger skipper.
Rangers, yeah.
So you knew him because they're like in World Series all the time during
Mhm.
this time, and like contending teams.
This is the same year, right? 2011.
Yeah.
That's when they had their run.
I think so. And
they came
so-
up short, but
I'm like watching this movie, I'm like Ron, I'm like, I was like, that couldn't be Ron Washington. I was like, but it might be, you know, like maybe that is. And then it shows him like one of the later scenes, it's like a real one of the real footage from
Mhm.
one of the games, and he's the third base coach. Like, that's for sure Ron Washington. So as like an 11-year-old, I'm just like getting excited about this little nuanced piece of this movie, and I was like, that's fun.
so you
yeah.
caught this early on.
Yeah.
I didn't find this out until the latest screening,
Oh really?
because he refers to, he's like, what do you think, Wash?
Yeah.
Wow.
He says
yeah.
Wash, and I was like, oh, is this supposed to be Ron Washington?
Mhm.
Because I noticed his mustache, and I was like, and then we looked it up, and I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
never knew that. So you found out when you were 11 years old,
And
and I
that's
just found it out now.
it just come out. It was like if he wasn't the manager for the Rangers
Right.
at that time, winning a bunch, then I would have like.
Mhm.
It was a good meeting of happenstance, I
Like, oh
guess.
wow, look at that, he's in this
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, that's funny.
So now we get opening day.
Well, that montage of them like fielding and stuff,
Oh,
that
yeah.
honestly really did bother me. Like, I get it for movie purposes, but like, dude, these are still major leaguers. They're not
making
gonna
them
just be
look like
making these
scrubs.
silly mistakes out there, like
Yeah.
not knowing how to catch a pop fly. Like, it's just a routine pop. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I
Yeah.
get
No,
Hattenberg. He
you-
doesn't play first, and it's Chris Pratt
Mhm.
fielding ground balls, so that makes it hilarious. But that
They have
They're
like
just
like
weird.
Jeremy Giambi's out
They
there.
look like
he
the
can't
Bad
even-
News
can't
Bears
even
out
field
there.
Yeah, he can't even field a fly ball.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I just thought that was silly, but I get
No,
it. Movie
it's
purposes.
to
I-
reinforce
yeah.
this idea that these
Yeah.
guys are real underdogs.
Yeah,
and they've
yeah,
got cards stacked against them, and it's like, well, not really, but for movie purposes, sure.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he better, and he looks to Peter. Billy looks to Peter, says, "This better work." And Peter's like,
I'm just kidding.
Okay. So now we get opening day. Crowds pouring into the stadium. Let's see how this thing looks, right?
Mm.
And then you get the guitar guy playing the national
Oh, yeah.
anthem, and Billy leaves to go work out, and Peter's like, "Where you going?" He's like, "I don't watch the games."
watch
Yeah.
games.
he's already taken his tie off.
Yeah.
He has a full suit and tie.
Yeah.
He's already taken his tie off before he hits the tunnel.
Yeah.
He's like,
And
I don't watch
so-
the games. He's out of there.
The great like sub like talk of this movie is like he's working out while this team is trying to work itself out every time. It's like showing these montages of these games going. He's pumping iron and he's getting it going. He's putting his sweat into this just as much as the team is.
He's always working out his back.
Yeah, he loves it.
Chandler's like,
I noticed
he's
that.
just getting back day every
He's
day.
getting
backs. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like feels like kind of sick to be a G and just like, you know, you got a baseball game going out right there and you're just gonna go get a pump in real quick.
Yeah.
Like, just all to yourself. Like,
I mean, your job at that point, it's out of your hands.
yeah,
so
for sure.
do
Like,
literally whatever
yeah.
you want.
I don't know if I could watch it either. I don't know.
Yeah, I could
Well,
see
he
that being
feels
a little
cursed.
nerve-wracking.
That's why he doesn't want to even be around it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
feels like he
Yeah.
has this presence that it almost kind of leads to some sort of bad
Yeah.
luck.
And
So it's
he's-
like the further I avoid it,
Yeah.
if I don't watch it, if I don't listen to it, then I can't.
If I'm not around it.
And
Yeah.
he's doing the same thing here as in the first scene. He's got the TV on, but he's back to the
Back
TV.
turned, yeah.
He's just clicking it on. He's like in the like between sets, clicking it on, clicking it off, clicking it on, back to the set. Like,
I think this is like I think that's a very accurate portrayal of specifically baseball superstition. How people can be with either their favorite teams or obviously in this case, I mean, the team that he's in charge of. You know, I mean, he's the general manager. But I think a lot of people have this superstition when they watch sports. It's almost like my team's doing good for once because I haven't been watching them. Therefore, if I continue to not watch them, they'll continue winning. I can't tune in
Right.
because
Yeah.
if I do, then they're gonna lose and I'm gonna.
it's on you. It's your fault.
Right.
Like it's so crazy.
It also trickles down from his playing days as well, from not
Yeah,
being
no,
able
for
to ever
sure, for sure.
perform
Yeah.
to the way he was
like you said, you
supposed
think
to.
he's cursed.
Yeah, he's cursed, and that's
Yeah.
why it's a part of who he is even now as a GM.
And in this scene, you get 2002 technology communication between Peter and Billy, telling him that Pena's at first, not Hatterberg. So he gets pissed about that too. And so he sits down with Art after, and he's like, I should have been more clear with you about the vision for this. He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't care about your vision. Like, he's like, you're not playing the team how it's designed to be played. He's like, I'm playing it how I see it. And so they're buddy. Now that the scouts are gone, you have this tension with the coach.
This
now.
is the conversation in Art's office,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
I want to point out after he leaves the office, after this kind of somewhat heated conversation, Billy's walking out, and he just like he's doing like this little dance when he walks out of the office just to be like a little asshole.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really
It
funny.
was
I don't
really
know.
funny.
It's just weird because he's just like
Yeah.
doing this like little jig
Like, what
outside
was
of the,
that?
Yeah, and he like
I don't
pushes
know if I
something out of
noticed
the way.
that.
Yeah.
It's really
It-
funny. He like walks away. What is he? He says something when he's walking away. I thought
I can't
remember, but
I'll have to
he
go back and
he
look
does
at
like this little
Yeah, it's pretty
little
funny.
dance.
It's
and
so
like,
weird,
and
but
I
it's so
literally
funny.
Yeah.
out loud when we were watching it, I was like, "Why did you do that?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What is that supposed to be?" And he like pushed something out of the way. It was funny.
And I know that we've always
Like
watched
the laundry
baseball,
cart, I think.
and
Yeah.
we've always been fans of baseball. We played baseball. Something like in this scene just makes it stick out more. Something about the fact that managers are in full uni with a number is so funny. Like no other professional sports team are they suited up in the same thing that the players
So
are wearing.
weird.
You gotta love it, man.
Yeah, you do. Like it's always going to be unique to baseball, but it's just so funny that these like his big old belly is just in this. And Art Howe, the real guy, is not that, doesn't have that big old belly. So I think it's just funny that
It is funny.
that managers have to wear full kits.
Maybe at the very least, you could see the base coaches wearing full
Yeah.
uniforms. Why is the manager
Yeah.
also rocking the full uniform?
with the
Like-
like, imagine the manager has the number you want to wear.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Art's number.
That's Art's.
I guess like it would be kind of weird if they were in like a full
So
suit.
can
though.
you sub him? Like,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, this is just a fun
Yeah.
hypothetical, but you're in full uniform. You got a number. Is a manager ever thought, let me get in there, let me take some hacks because you guys aren't cutting
At
it.
that point, they got to take over. You
Yeah.
know what? You guys aren't getting
I'm
on
putting
base. I'm
myself
going to get
in.
on base.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
wasn't Pete Rose a
Pete Rose was a
player?
manager
Yeah.
and a player. Yeah, so
So,
you could. In
yeah.
that theoretical, if you're on the roster, but you're also a manager like Pete Rose, and you're betting on games, you can sub yourself in whenever you feel like it.
So now that the season has gotten kicked off and the tension between the coach and Billy has been established now, you get a montage of kind of the early part of the season going, and people are, the broad media, the masses are starting to see this experiment that they're
Mhm.
trying. And so that's when I believe that fired head scout
Mm.
is on there, because he's talking, he's like, they're calling it Moneyball, he's like, I don't know. He's like
Just trash.
yeah, he's just trashing on him for like this whole time while it's showing him.
That. I didn't know this. I've never caught that.
I think it is.
No, you're probably right.
It is.
That makes sense that he'd go on, you know, and like, fuck it, I'm not involved with them anymore.
Yeah,
really sucks.
And he's just trashing on him for like a whole montage of them losing, and from there, I basically think that establishes, okay, that's like April to early June, maybe, that sequence. So now you get Billy talking to Pete about how you have to be able to cut and trade players and tell them.
Yeah.
And how like the business part of it. And he's like, Billy, I don't do that. Like, he's like, well, you're gonna have to. He's like, and then they like role play him getting cut, and Billy just like works him. Like, he's like, what are you? My kid's just making friends now.
Yeah, just my kid just started a new school. I just bought a house out here. My kid just made friends. You know, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you don't want to take him out of school now during this time. What the hell are you doing, Pete? What are you doing to me?
So yeah, that's funny. And so they have that, and then Pete is on a plane with David Justice talking about Billy's approach to this, and because he asked him like, why Billy doesn't fly with the team, and he's like, he likes to be separate from the team. He's like, was that supposed to make us easier to cut? And Pete's like, he's like, no. He like tries to finesse out of that. He's like, why is the sodas $1? I've never seen that before. Yeah. Likes to keep the money on the field.
So where on the field is my dollar for soda? He's like, it's hard to see, but it is. And then he's like, yeah, it is hard to see.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. Puts his headphones back on.
I wanted to say, like, Billy or just the GM or assistant GM, they wouldn't be the ones making cuts anyways. It would be the manager, like notifying the player. So
would they also
wouldn't
be
even
traveling with the team?
They could.
I mean, they could, but do they typically? I feel like
it probably depends on where they're going and stuff and what. But
to this point, that it's like he never travels with the team. I don't know. I always took that.
I feel like they wouldn't be sitting next to the players.
That too. Why? I mean,
or like you know, they'd probably be like in their own section with the manager. Or
the
something.
manager didn't travel with the team, which wouldn't happen, obviously. But like, obviously, that this is a dude who's like on the field, like doing stuff. Who cares? The GM's physically there on the road with you. What is he supposed to be on the plane?
And the real Billy, he wasn't that absent from like the field in real life.
It's just a fun.
No, I love the direction.
I didn't know that, but
the
like
film is painting a narrative. Right. But
the real Oakland Athletics are simply a catalyst for this story. So now you get Peter and Billy kind of talking the owner off the ledge of like, hey, like we're all like you, like we don't like. There's not even enough baseball being played right now to get a sample size of what we're trying to do here.
Right.
Like give us a chance, please. Like you have to at least let us see this thing through for a season.
Let us cook.
Yeah, let us cook basically. And then you get him and his daughter again. They're having ice cream and just kind of talking, and she's kind of showing a little worry for him. And then you get Art.
Is that when he's like. Don't go on the internet.
Oh, when she's asking, like,
yeah,
are you gonna lose your job?
So who's saying that? I saw it on the internet.
Like, well, why would you do that? Don't do that. Yeah, don't go on the internet.
Don't talk to people.
Yeah, don't talk to people.
It's very fun how like he just like they have a fun. It's very fun.
Yeah. I love their relationship with each other. It's very natural.
Because he's not really like that. I guess he's like that with everybody, but not like. He's got that's his daughter.
You can see that. I mean, the way that he behaves with his daughter, as opposed to, I mean, obviously anybody else, it's going to be a different type of relationship. But it's like this wall is down when he's with his daughter. It's just them two. They're just having fun, and that's all he cares about. So it's like, yeah, baseball is his life, but like, not really. Like this is his number one priority. You can see that difference even just in his tone of speaking and the way he behaves. He's clearly more willing to be open. You know, I like that kind of idea that it's visual shorthand for like, you get it, it's his daughter, he cares about his daughter, right? Yeah,
I do too. So I've got written down here that Art Howe still isn't bought in because he's still not making the lineup implementations that Billy wants, and then they walk past each other. Billy and Art walk past each other in the hallway, and then Billy hears the locker room playing music.
Oh yeah.
and it's Give Up the Funk, and he walks in there, and you got Jeremy Giambi.
And it's
up.
right after a loss.
Yeah, right after a
After a
loss.
loss.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Giambi's up on the table going crazy. They're all having a good time, right? You know, we're in the MLB. Let's have a good time. Let's party. And then you just get Billy with a bat to the stereo system, turns it off, and they all just turn around and they're like, it's like, is losing fun? No. Then why are you guys having fun? And then like he's just silent and he's got his finger up.
Yeah.
That's what losing sounds like.
Mm.
And on his way out, just chucks the Gatorade jug out of there.
Flings the
But yeah,
bat.
he like throws the bat, throws over
Yeah.
the Gatorade. Like he's just like,
Yeah.
just wrecking
Just
everything on his
pissed.
way out. Yeah.
It's like, gosh,
They're
dude.
Which
on this
again-
horrible, like, just losing streak. Not streak necessarily, but they're just losing games. They're
You-
not.
it's
like,
They're
you guys
losing
are-
more than winning.
Yeah.
You guys are my misfits. Like you gotta get it together here.
Me and Tanner, again, this is going back to, would a GM be in the locker room?
No.
Oh,
Well,
with the
Nah,
team.
you could, but like interacting
throwing,
like
yeah,
that.
like
no.
throwing stuff around and like,
and
like
that's
this is
what
more
David. That's what David Justice says. I'm like, I never see a GM
Yeah.
be like this with the team.
like,
Because he says you never seen a GM that was a player.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now after that, they trade Carlos Pena and Jeremy Giambi. So Pete has to tell Carlos that he got traded, and he does the business stuff of just stating the facts,
Mhm.
giving him the information, and then Carlos is like, "We're done here." Like, yep. All right. And then you got Billy talking to Art.
Well, I love the way he just like sits there after he leaves, and he's just like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
he's like, oh
he's
my
like,
god,
he's like sitting like kind of like, yeah, he already
Right.
walked down. He's just kind of like, oh god, okay, I did it.
You got Billy talking to Art
Mhm.
about how they just traded Carlos Pena. He's like, because he says Scotty's at first tonight. Like, no, Carlos is at first. Well, you're gonna have to put Scotty there because I just shipped Carlos away.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what the heck? And they're talking back and forth. And Jeremy Giambi comes back. He's like, hey, Billy, you wanted to see me? He's like, yeah, have a seat. Tells him he was traded. Gives him his information. He walks out. He's like, Jeremy's also gone.
Yeah.
So I love that scene. And so now you get the next montage of the team playing like real clips. And this is like them sitting down with players talking about how, you know, when you're swinging at pitches here, you're not hitting them well. When you're swinging in your zone, like you're batting 600. So you get the great score over this montage.
Mhm.
Just them starting to buy into this sabermetrics Moneyball system, and that I believe it gets broken up with him going to David Justice in the cage.
yeah,
I was telling you guys this. Good swing on this actor, man. He's got good pop there. Like I don't think you really do that scene if somebody doesn't have a good swing.
Right.
But I was like I didn't feel like I was looking at an actor playing bass. I felt like I was looking at a baseball player acting. And I know you had said that maybe he had played a little single A.
The little bit that I looked into about the actor that portrays David Justice, yeah, apparently he played professional ball. He played low A ball, and he specifically idolized David Justice.
Yeah, that's funny.
He'd literally been in pro ball around the time that David Justice was on the Yankees and was a big name, right? So he kind of looked up to him, and the fact that he got to end up portraying him in a big
That's really
Hollywood
cool.
film is very, very cool. But clearly, yeah, you're like, oh, this guy can swing a bat.
It's just good to hear that.
Yeah, this guy
crack,
played
like,
professional
just,
ball.
Just
This guy
loose
could
with
play.
it, just
Yeah.
buttery with it.
Very nice and easy off the pitching machine. Yeah.
And he's like, we ain't got no problems. And he's talking to him. He's like, you're paying me to be here to do this. And he's like, nah, the Yankees are paying you. He's like, that's what they think of you. And so he's like, I need you to step up and be a leader. He's like,
I think he says like,
He says they're paying
You
they're
not
paying
to
you.
be-
Yeah, they're paying
yeah.
you $3.5 million
to
to play against
them.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a great line.
And,
Like,
So good.
and he kind of like,
he's like,
Damn. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That shuts him up right away because it's like, oh.
it's like, can I count on you? He's like, yeah, I got you. Just goes back to hitting. So now,
yeah, we're cool.
yeah,
we're cool. Now we get the trade deadline. They're going for Rincon again, right?
Mm.
Deals are getting made left and right. You know, Hollywood trade deadline stuff. This is not how any of this would go down probably, but it's fun. It's a fun watch.
It is.
You got Peter on the phone making deals, man, cutting it up. The assistant saying people are on line 1, line 2. Like we're cooking in here. And
I think he even pulls out. He has a cell too. He's like on a line there, hangs out, calling his line, and then Peter's, Mr. Bean isn't available right now, but let me let him, and they're chopping up back and forth with all these different.
He's like muting, unmuting.
They're just having so much fun because they'll like take a break in between a phone call. They're like, what about so and so, or like what about they're like, let's do it, get them on. And then like when I love, like I don't know why I love the picture so much of
I was gonna say this, you have to mention this,
finalizing his trade that he gets, and it's just the slow he's just talking because he's like going back and forth. He's like, he says this, he says that, like, do you want this deal? They're offering this, and they're saying like, throw in this guy, throw in that guy, or like, we'll do this. And he's like, Billy, he finally gets to the point where he's just listening and you don't hear what the person's telling him. So you're just getting him go. And he's just taking it in. And then he finally gets the fist bump. And he's like, we got him.
Well, I love like, it's like so,
it's so slow.
And
it's
then he
so
does
slow.
that.
He's like, yes. And he's like silently
trying to
like,
contain it.
Yeah. So I love that picture.
I saw something on that of Jonah, like talking about that scene and like what made him do that.
Yeah.
He said, I guess according to Bennett Miller, like, they took like 40 plus takes of that. And he just said like, I guess one of them just ended up him transitioning.
It's perfect because for you not to be hearing what they're saying to you, like lets you hear a little bit of like him being like, okay, like I guess you know what, let's make the deal. And so it's like it's just good movie making.
It's the perfect way. Like you said, you can't hear the other line. It's the perfect way to portray that like they closed the deal. Like it's a celebratory kind of like
we're watching as Billy's watching him. So
and he's got the A's cap on. He's fully bought into the A's, man. Like, and
I think Tanner pointed that out when we were watching.
You can tell.
Like, I think it's the first time he's worn a hat.
Yeah, you can tell they're having like Billy and Peter are having fun together now. They're like really into this. They're like fully bought into it, and like let's just go get our guys that we want to go get. And they finally get Ricardo and from the Indians. All right. So now, like they welcome Rincon in. You get the streak. We have the streak. This is the big whole point. This is the payoff of the movie is they are really starting to understand it's like lethal shooter, right? They understand it now. And they are really starting to buy in and just snapping off wins. They're snapping off wins. I just caught that. That's so stupid.
I was like, lethal. I thought you were talking about lethal weapon. I was like, oh, lethal shooter. I understand it now. I know the meme. Hey, I'm hip. I know the memes. That's so fucking.
So you get. Also, they had to send somebody down after they got Rincon, which is kind of a sad little moment.
That guy well, that is real. That guy getting sent down, and he never played Major League Baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he never got brought back up.
Dang. And for him to be like traded, it's like going down. Like,
Oh, dude, he's like, I can only have so many guys on the roster. I can only have 25
I didn't know
guys.
He never played. That makes it so much worse.
He never got back up to the majors.
Yeah, he's got two of them.
He's like, Billy, I think if I could just, he's like trying to plead his case almost, and he's like,
it's like putting it down a wounded horse or something.
Dude.
Like,
oh man, the minor leagues can be a bummer sometimes.
I honestly, I wish you never told me that you didn't.
I know, I didn't know that. That kind of sucked.
Yeah,
poor guy.
Well, let's get back to the get back to the positives here. So, you got this great montage of they are winning games now. You have these announcers. You got like Bob Costas talking about like you're getting this team is building momentum that nobody's ever really seen before. Like at least in this era, like they're just snapping wins off left and right. I think Bob Costas is the one that said they're making a mockery out of the AL right now because I think this is still before interleague play. Were they playing AL/NL still?
I believe so.
They were.
I believe so. I want to say.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
And
I didn't know there was a point where they didn't play each other.
Oh yeah, and it was only strictly AL against AL teams, and then vice versa. But at this point, they should be.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's weird. I didn't even know that. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Clearly a casual.
So
I didn't know that.
they you're getting great like real like footage shots of like the fans like going crazy. Like I would have loved to be in Oakland in 2002 when this team was snapping games off left and right. Like it had to have been so much fun to be.
Oh yeah.
And like the buzz of that was probably insane. Filling that Coliseum, because that's a big state. Like when you get all the way up those big, because they have them like tarped off half the season, but when they're filling it, that's a fun stadium to look at full. And you know, you get them going crazy left and right, and they have all these signs, like everybody's just going nuts for this team. And like that had to have been so satisfying for Billy to be like, yes, like my team is winning now. Like they're getting it. They are winning games. Like this is insane. Like I feel so good now.
Yeah.
Which
except we kind of get some indication later
that
that's
he
not even
doesn't
the
really,
case.
yeah, he doesn't
I mean,
even,
well,
if it's not, yeah.
do we talk about game 20 then? In that
Yeah,
case?
so yeah,
Oh, yeah.
let's get to game 20, because game 20 is the scene.
Right.
It is the sequence of the movie. It is the culmination of everything. That you get the announcer, we're gonna win 20, we're gonna win 20, and then you get cut to Billy on the freeway, gets a call from his ex-wife, and he's like, don't tell me the score, Pete. And she's like, no, Billy, it's me. He's like, oh. He's like, hey. And she's like, oh, I didn't think you'd pick up. I just wanted to tell you, like, we're watching the game here, and we're just so proud of you. And the daughter goes on the phone, and she's like, Dad, like, turn around, like, you have to. He's like, no, I'm going down to watch the AAA team.
Yeah.
And he's like, you have to turn around. He's like, no, I'm not going to. And she's like, you're not gonna jinx it. She's just like, again, like she's like, she knows like that's what her dad thinks about it. He's like, no, can't do it. He's just like, talk to you later, love you. He just hangs up on them. And then he turns the radio on, which in this sequence of the edge of your seat as Billy, like being like, knowing nothing about what's going on. He's like, well, if you're just joining us, best way I could say it is the A's scored 2 in the first, 6 in the second, and 3 in the third. It's something like that. And so he just gets this little smile on his face. He's like, oh my gosh, like we are up big right now. We're going to do it. Flips it on the highway, hauls booty back to the stadium. And then you get him walking into the stadium, and Peter notices that he's there, which is a great shot.
And he kind of like smiles.
He's like,
hey,
he's here.
He's coming around to the idea that maybe you being here is not a curse.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the Kansas City Royals with Raul Ibanez, which they got a pretty good actor to play Raul.
Yeah, I agree.
I also do like those Kansas City unis. I'm always
That's what I said.
I said I didn't like them. I was like, these suck. I like the vest.
I'm just always a big vest. Like anytime I see a vest,
that's what I said too. I like the vest.
The colors were terrible. I thought the font. I was
boring,
like, it's
but
boring,
I like the vest.
The vest is big time.
If it wasn't a vest, it's either way. Like this is like
that's just why I remember
this. The way this scene is shot is not like how they've shot any of their baseball scenes yet.
Right.
Like it's very on the field. Like every other scene has been like, you know, they have to hide that they're probably not in the Coliseum. So they just black out everything behind it, and it's just like focused on one person. But they're able to be in the Coliseum here, and they have every player, like you got like action shots of like motion cameras and having them fumble baseballs around, and like it's like a bunch of baseball left in this game, and the Royals start chipping away, and they just keep making errors. They don't tack onto their 11-0. It was 11-0 the lead was. So I hope the math I did previously added up. I don't think it did at all.
It might have been. It's definitely close. I think you might have had it right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And so it's 11-0, and they don't score again, and the Royals were just chipping away, and some guy Sweeney I can't remember his first name, but I remember watching him play a little bit in the later part of his career. Anyway, this guy hits a home run for the Royals to tie it up, or I believe tie it up, maybe get down 1.
Is it Todd Sweeney?
Todd Sweeney.
I feel like that sounds right.
That sounds
I don't
right.
know why I recognize the name.
It's actually to just go down 10-11 because they get a sacrifice fly or something to tie it up. And Billy he's left at this point, right?
Yeah, I think he's in the
Oh, he went
working
back to
out
the weight
again or
room.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
he's like,
no, he's
"God."
not working out at all now because everything's
Well, he's in the
everything-
weight room, right?
Yeah,
I
he's
think
in the weight room, but
yeah.
like
It's not working out.
the work is
Oh,
it's the,
yeah,
work, the
but he's
work
in
is
the-
all
yeah.
done. Like it's kind of like that symbolism again of like he's not working out because it's all out there now. The whatever, like he can't do anything anymore.
I love that. I like that. I like that perspective on that.
It definitely is not like I've heard that. I just wanted to convey that to you guys. I that is not my original thought, but I did love when they I can't remember who it was that pointed it out when I was doing the research. It was like talking about how every time he's working out, the team's getting better, and it's like that's his way of doing that. And then, when he's sitting there, he's not working out, but he's in the room.
Yeah.
But he's got nothing left to do anyway. He still can't. He can't hardly look at the TV, right? Like he can't. And Art Howe, is it Ho? It's not Ho. It's How, right?
It's how.
Okay.
Not
It's
Ho.
not Ho, right? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. Well, How finally is like, you know what? Billy Bean, you son of a gun. Hatterberg, get in there. Like, let's see, like,
Pinch hit.
yeah, get in there. Grab a bat. He's like, huh? Like, grab a bat, get loose. Come on. He's like, you're going in for whoever. And he goes in, gets loose, takes one or two pitches, and you get the great soundtrack over this scene. It's slow motion again. It's dark, and now it's silhouetted of just the pitcher and him, and you have the great lead up of this pitch to the crack of his bat. It's like goosebumps every time I watch this scene. Like I love this scene so much because from the time the ball is pitched, and also in this scene from when he shows up to the stadium till he goes into the weight room, there is like no dialogue or anything. It's just what's happening on the field for like 3 or 4 minutes. And I just love that. It's just the sound of people making errors and people hitting baseballs. And I was like, I love that. But back to Hatterberg's big triumphant walk-off home run.
Spoiler.
The pitch comes in real slow, and he crack of the bat, and you just see it sail into the night sky, and then we get the cutaway to the real footage, and then as soon as it hits the fans, it just hits the mighty Rio Grande score of the. I don't want to try and replicate it with my voice, but you know what I'm talking about. When it hits that, you're just like, oh yeah. And when you get the crack of the bat, you get Billy like snapping his head at the TV, like he feels it or hears it from the stadium, not even the TV. Just a great scene.
For win 20.
Just the payoff of this scene, and you get him coming around the bases. He's like, yeah. Scott Hatterberg, they took a chance on me. My daughter could get fat again. Like, so yeah, just love that scene so much. I mean, that is the triumphancy of this of this movie,
right?
But it's funny because it's like 20-game win streak is insane. I still don't think that's been.
I believe that was tying a franchise record.
Wasn't it tied an AO record? I believe it was definitely clear. It cleared.
Okay.
It cleared the.
I thought it was tying something though. I don't think it was breaking.
I thought it was the league record.
I think it was. I think.
I thought 19 was the record, and then they beat it.
Oh, okay.
And then
yeah.
I don't know if it's been top since. I doubt it, but
yeah, I can't remember the last time somebody was going on a crazy win streak.
The kind of color commentary before leading up to this game 20, I think is setting, and I could be wrong.
19,
so, I mean, whatever.
Gary, Ruth, Murderers Row. Some think this is the best team of all time.
Yeah,
most
they're
games
saying,
they
like,
won that year.
They're joining
9.
Crazy Company. They're like, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I think
this
right.
team, they're like naming like famous teams.
Yeah.
Like this one only had 17. This one had 18.
Defies everything we know about baseball, which is insane. Like we've played games like baseball. Could you imagine winning 20 straight Major League Baseball games?
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Like,
especially with
like
that
when they're saying in the movie, like there's so much that has to go into that. Like there's luck. There's like so much. Like
yeah, so many factors.
Yeah, like that is insane to win a baseball game 20 times in a row.
Yeah,
like, that is mind blowing. That wouldn't like you could. I think you said you could
so
play
rare.
those 20 games over again and they don't happen like that.
Exactly.
So since this is like kind of one of their endings that they're trying to get to, but then you also have to be like, well, they lost in the divisional series to the Twins.
Yeah.
And so it like cuts away to this guy batting. It's like bottom of the ninth. It's like game 5. You're like, oh my gosh, we get another walk-off home run here? No, pop up. And then you get narration of like, this was never. Go ahead.
No, you continue the
he was like, this was always a broken system. Like you can't just reinvent this game. Like it comes down to the one games, like throw analytics away, like that still is baseball. And it's like, that's what happened to these guys. And it, it's kind of hard to close the movie because you don't want to close it off of 20-game win streak because you still have to show that they lost.
Right.
And so, and then you get that. But
there's a bit of a sour note.
That
but
narration honestly was a bit odd to me.
It was,
Tanner, yeah. Well, Tanner and I, when we watched
it, sounds like Ice-T, but
dude, that's what I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't, but that's what I said.
He's like, is that Ice-T?
I was like, dude, this narration reminds me of like the other guys when Ice-T does it.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't Ice-T, but I thought that was hilarious because it reminded me of that.
Right.
We had to look it up because I was like, is that Ice-T? I really thought I was like,
but like I
don't even care if it's not Ice-T. That'll always be.
I didn't like the narration. I thought that was.
But like how like it's so hard to like. I don't know.
You could
like,
have a narration
just
not
that guy. Just not that guy.
I said personally, you could have had some kind of exposition scene with maybe Peter recounting the events and kind of
because it's so out of nowhere.
Like Billy, some kind of scene. I'm not going to rewrite a scene right now, but something.
No, do it right now. Make the movie better right now.
Aaron Sorkin, I love your screenplay, but I think I got some notes if you don't mind. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm no Hollywood screenwriter. I couldn't even toss my hat in the ring, but I will say the narration is odd and made me laugh a lot that you thought it was Ice-T because then I could hear it.
No, I knew it wasn't, but
you said it sounded like Ice-T, and I was like, damn, that does sound like Ice-T. And then I was like, is that Ice-T? I should look this up because maybe it is.
And he was before that divisional series. They had Peter and him had the little conversation about like, this is amazing. Like Peter was like, dude, this is insane what we did, and then but he's like, well, we still like. I think Billy tells him we still have to win. Like we still have to win the last one. And
it's kind of it's that job's not finished mentality, right?
Yeah, and Peter's just like, dude, I can't believe we did this.
Yeah. So to Billy again, the 20 wins almost doesn't. It clearly means a lot to him, but he doesn't want to show that because he knows it doesn't mean the most.
Yeah.
He wants.
Is that when he's talking about
goal.
like he doesn't even care about the ring? Like he just wants to know like.
That they changed baseball.
Yeah, that they changed.
Like he's like, no, we're going for something bigger. We want a fundamental change in how people view this whole process. And to be fair, seems like that has changed.
Yeah, right? For sure. I mean, that's how the Red Sox won their World Series.
Yeah, as we get revealed later. Yeah, definitely.
With, so now we get him going to Fenway.
Well, before this.
Yeah.
We get. Oh no, I'm sorry. You're right. Go ahead. You're wrong.
Are you thinking of the metaphor?
I was thinking the metaphor.
Okay,
I'm sorry. That is after. My mistake.
I was on with you.
Yeah, my mistake.
Right. We're good. We're good. It goes Fenway.
He has it written down. I'm over here. Actually.
So Fenway, they only had one day to shoot at Fenway.
Okay.
And it just so happened to be a rainy, gloomy day, and I think it kind of adds a nice little ambiance to this. Like it's like a nice little like I don't know what I like about
dark
it.
Cloud over it all.
Not even like philosophically deep. Like I just like the way it looks.
Okay,
really.
Yeah, I do too.
The way the green grass pops off of a cloudy sky.
It kind of goes with the whole aesthetic of the movie.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's a lot of grayscale. So it's like the movie is shot in a kind of dark way, right? There's a lot of like grays in the movie, so yeah, it definitely fits.
In the aftermath of the loss of a season,
right?
You know?
That's why I see. Yeah. I took it as kind of a.
That's cool.
I didn't know that. I thought
cool
that
it just worked out.
I thought that was like they did that. I didn't know it was literally raining.
That's what I heard.
I didn't know they shot on location.
Yeah.
For that, and then all the Coliseum stuff, and they shot a bit of Dodger Stadium to act as the Coliseum, but I didn't know that they literally just had the one day to shoot.
Yeah, that's what because I know Fenway is very particular.
Right.
Like
I could imagine
every Boston movie somehow finds a way to sneak Fenway into it.
Shout out Fever Pitch.
Yeah.
I'm throwing that on the wheel at some point.
Shout out The Departed. Shout out everything.
Shout out literally any Boston movie. Yeah.
Good Will Hunting. Go watch it. So then you get him. They're walking up to he's like, let's get coffee. Let's go chill up in the press box. Just just getting the that's why I love this movie. You get the glimpse of the behind the scenes of how these teams and this whole industry is run.
Right.
Like we're just at Fenway, nobody's here. Let's have an espresso. Like let's talk. I want you to be my GM. But first there he's like it's her birthday tomorrow. He's talking about his assistant. He's like, it's her birthday tomorrow. What should I get her? He's like, what about a scarf? He's like a wool scarf? He's like, no, like a decorative one. He's like, where would I get one of those? He's like, man, I just lost in 5 again for the second year in a row. I'd get her a bowling ball for all I care. And then he's like, all right, like fair enough. And then he slides him the offer to come be the GM. Comes like, and then you just kind of cut to him and Peter's, and Peter's kind of pressed. He's like, how much he offer you? He's like, well, what is it? And
he slides him he has that note still, and he slides it to him. And he's like, "Does it make you the highest paid highest paid GM in sports?"
In sports, like not just baseball.
So you're like, "Holy shit! What did he?" Because he's like presumably passing up on it. At least more than likely, he's kind of you could tell like he's just kind of thinking about it.
12.5 mil.
12.5 mil, dude.
And
holy moly.
Yeah. And he's still pressed about losing this past season. And so he obviously wants to run it back with Peter. And not that he probably would have brought Peter with him to Boston. I would think.
More than likely, yeah.
Probably, right?
I would assume. Or at least even if he didn't,
if we're going off movie.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
Maybe.
I guess
in
realistic sense,
real life,
he probably wouldn't. And
I
then,
guess now
and
the
then
ball's
Peter
in Peter's court to do whatever he wants
at that point. So if anything, you could see it a win-win. He takes this job, he gets bank, right? He gets a ton of money on the Red Sox now, and then Peter probably becomes GM for the A's. So he moves up a little bit too in the world. Kind of everyone wins, but I don't know. I could see it either way.
Either of you want to talk about the lovely film room scene?
You talk about the film room scene because I want to talk about the final scene.
All right.
You painted it pretty nice even when we were watching it. It's just a funny scene.
Well, it is a funny scene. It's this cool little thing. He's like Billy. He's like, come with me to the film room. I want to show you something. And
he's like, I don't want to watch film.
I don't want to watch film right now. And he's like, just come with me. I want to show you something. So they go, and Peter brings up this footage of one of their guys. Actually, I don't even know if they established if it was a guy in their organization, but in real life, this guy he was a 2002 first round draft pick drafted by Billy Beane. I do want to mention that because this whatever
ties in.
Well, his name's Jeremy Brown. He was a first round draft pick in 2002, but that's not how it's presented in the movie. He's just like, this is Jeremy Brown, and watch what he does right here, and then he hits. You just see him hit it. He's running to first base, and he's like, he mentions like this guy never takes a chance like at second. He's a bigger fella, but we don't know where the ball was hit. Whatever. You're just seeing him run to first base, and like him attempting to round second, falls, and then he's crawling back to first base, and I love Brad Pitt the way he says it, but Billy says he's like, oh, they're laughing at him. He's crawling back, and then you see like he's like, but he was too busy like concerned with like going to second and stuff, taking that chance, but he didn't even realize he hit a home run. And you got like the first baseman and everybody else when they're around him, like they're just kind of encouraging him, like they're like, dude, you just hit a home run, you didn't even realize it, and that's the metaphor that he tells Billy.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just drew a blank there. But yeah, and then he's like, it's a metaphor. He's like, I
know it's a metaphor.
I know it's a metaphor.
But I thought that was funny because it's like, yeah, dude, this guy needs to appreciate what that season did. Yeah, they didn't win. They didn't win it all. But for losing what they did in the previous off season, to still maintaining a playoff contending team, to have that 20-game win streak, like, dude, like they had a hell of a season, and he needs to appreciate that and see that, dude, you didn't even realize you hit a home run. You need to take a moment and appreciate that, and see that like, yeah, you guys didn't win it all, but only one team can. But that doesn't mean that defeats the whole season in its entirety. So it is a good metaphor. But I did want to say that Billy in real life would have definitely known who Jeremy Brown is, because he was the one who was highly up on him in the draft, and picked him in the first round.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of cool.
Terrific metaphor.
Yeah.
I
great.
love the
It's
way that scene plays out because it's just like it's so poignant. It puts the whole movie into perspective where it's like, yeah, Billy never really he doesn't look at the little wins. He's always looking at big picture, right? And if they don't accomplish that, then everything else is a failure up until that point. But that's just not how life works. It's a metaphor for life, right? It's a metaphor. And I love how that scene is played out because it's a pretty short scene. And it gets the point across for the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then literally it's a metaphor. I know it's a metaphor. You know, so it's undercut with the humor, but it's still funny. It's exactly how that would play out.
Well,
at least in the context of the movie.
I want you to talk about our closing scene as well, because I was really appreciating the way you were talking about it earlier. So if you want to take us into our final scene here with Billy in his truck.
So we cut from this scene with him and with Billy and Peter to now Billy driving in his truck. He's driving and he has a CD that his daughter.
Oh, I thought he's on the phone with his daughter, and then right?
No, she burned something into that CD.
Oh, it's her talking over it. Oh, okay.
Like, so he pops in a CD into a CD player in his truck.
That's right.
And and it's like, you know, his daughter just saying like, hey dad, you know, I made you something and let me know what you think. She's also saying like, whether or not you decide to stay in California, like, you're a really great dad. And she's like, please don't show this to anyone.
Yeah.
And it's her singing the song The Show. I don't know the original artist to the song. It's a big song. You could look it up, but I'm not going to sing it. I don't want to get copyrighted. But great song, and it's his daughter performing the song, and the shot of Billy driving in the truck. It's like from the passenger side. It's like it's him, and it's kind of like this shaky cam, and then it slowly starts to zoom in on him, still with the shaky. So even as you're getting closer, it's almost becoming shakier because now it's moving more and more the more you're zoomed in, and it's just on his like the side of his face and his eyes. And they're clearly, you know, it's like this emotion is just kind of overwhelming him. He's clearly starting to well up a bit, and it's just beautiful with his daughter playing out this movie, basically, and playing out this scene, and kind of ultimately him kind of going, yeah, I think this is where I need to be, you know. So him that kind of solidifying that decision to stay in Oakland through that song and through this kind of like, yeah, I think I'm where I need to be.
I mean, like, I think his facial expressions say so much throughout the whole movie. Like, dude, Brad Pitt's so good at that. Like, just even like just slightly squinting at times, and then there's times where he's doing like a Clint Eastwood kind of squint, and I love it, dude. It's so good. And like that last scene, like, there's a lot being told, not only through the song, but like him reacting to it just with his eyes, not even his whole face, but like you mentioned, like
because earlier
eyes.
When we got the scene with his daughter performing in the guitar store, that emotion kind of overwhelms him, and it's a full shot of him, but he's kind of like covering his mouth and almost like, you know, like again, he's in awe of but he's clearly like, again, welling up right there too. This one, he's alone. There's no one to see him. He's allowed to just let it out. And it's just on his eyes, and the acting that he's doing with his eyes alone is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my goodness. Like every single time I watch this movie, makes me cry. Every single time.
No, you said you wouldn't sing it, but I think we got someone that that is willing to.
Yeah, let's do it.
So yeah, we got the shot of Billy listening to the song.
So I'll be Billy.
Do I tune it?
I popped in the CD.
Do I do it in her tone or in mine?
I want to hear it hers because you have to emulate her.
All right. I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze. Love is a riddle. I don't know where to go. Can't do it alone. I've tried, and I don't know why.
Hey, that was pretty good. Nice.
You're such a loser, Dad.
You're such a loser, Dad. You're such a loser, Dad. Just enjoy the show. Oh,
phenomenal ending, and then cut to black. It's so good. Really that ending is legitimately one of my favorite endings in like any film ever. I swear to God, it's that, as far as just endings, it's that good to me. I think it's like the perfect kind of cap on the movie. Great.
Shall we put a cap on this podcast?
I
and
think
get
so.
to-
Yeah,
get
I
to
mean,
our
I think
reviews?
we've covered it all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, obviously this is my poster
yeah.
up on the wall
Here's
here.
your movie.
I love this movie so much. This is always going to be one of my all-time favorites. Being a baseball player growing up, obviously, and then you watch it more as an adult, and there's more to it. There's more than just the baseball. There's looking at baseball. It's about being an underdog. It's about going against the grain. It's about trying something different, and not worried about how it's going to be received, and just powering through and just trusting the process of it. Didn't work out for the 76ers, but it's inspiring to watch this movie. I really do just love everything about this. I listen to this soundtrack all the time. Like it's so, I can pinpoint exactly where I am in the movie when I listen to it. So there's certain points that just get me jacked up and just so excited to attack the rest of my day or whatever I'm doing. That the Mighty Rio Grande that is played so much it's like a 7-minute song. It's played so much in this song from the beginning to the end. They got their money's worth out of that one. From the way it looks, the acting, the fact that Philip Seymour Hoffman could have been any other character, like any other actor could have played Art Howe. But the fact that it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, who what I've read and seen is he doesn't know anything about baseball, but this was an interesting role to him, and he knew the people involved, and he was down, and he played no matter what Art Howe, the real guy, thinks about how he was portrayed. I thought he was a convincing baseball person and manager.
Definitely.
That Brad Pitt as Billy Bean, he just dominates every scene that he's in. This is, to me, in all of Brad Pitt's awesomeness, and it's so hard to say because he has so many good things, but this will always be top 2 Brad Pitt roles for me. Just the way he controls every scene.
What's the other one?
I mean, it's got to either be Inglorious or Fury.
I thought maybe he had it. He's the top 2. He was very specific. So
this one is number 1 for me for him.
Okay.
But there are so many that
top 2, not 2.
Top 2, not 2.
Top 2, not 2.
Yeah. I didn't want to insinuate that if I said top 3, that it would be 3.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill, fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
The fact that he was able to break from being this comedic guy to show real chops, real acting chops, is amazing. And he's shown that from filming it or being in more dramatization roles and then directing stuff. He was always more than the Judd Apatow character,
right?
Comedy character. Love this movie, and I'm going to give this movie a 9.85. So
highest score so far.
This is probably going to be the highest one for a while for me. Just
what
because
the hell is going to get a 10 out of you?
Knows.
Good Lord, this is a movie poster movie and not even a 10.
I
That's
can't.
crazy.
I'm not a 10 guy. I don't do
guess
10s.
So there's
That's
no
fair.
10 for you?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Wow, really?
All right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I have 10 10s. I can think off the top of my head. But that's a great score.
Yes, love this movie.
Nice, man.
Let's hear it,
Nice.
guys.
Yeah, I love it.
We'll get it off the wall.
Well, honestly, not only do I agree with everything that you said about the film and why it means so much to you, but like you said, I mean, we grew up playing baseball. Baseball movies in particular, I think it's the most cinematic sport. If I'm being frank, I think basketball, football, any major sport does not live up cinematically specifically. The language of film, I think, just translates so well to the game of baseball that it's just
love that.
There's this natural kind of cohesion between the two that I've always been very biased towards. But I think specifically this movie, because it's not it is very much a sports film in a lot of traditional ways, and then it subverts that too by being a character study first and foremost. And I think, to me, that's what I've always gotten the most out of this movie is this look at Billy Bean and this portrayal by Brad Pitt. The performance is so I can't even say that it's so strong because it's something more than that. It's almost lifelike. Obviously, there's a ton of historical inaccuracies. Billy Bean does not look like Brad Pitt. There's this and that you could look at.
He's a good-looking guy.
But he's a good-looking cat. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not even gonna say whatever. But imagine that someone portraying you in a movie. Oh, it's Brad Pitt. God, what
He's got to be dude, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt played me in a movie. A crazy flex, but I just think, and not just him, of course, like you said, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jonah Hill. the main cast, everyone along the way is terrific, performance wise. The score terrific, soundtrack terrific. I think if this movie had more shots of like how it does that silhouetted kind of view of the baseball footage when they're doing it, it'd probably be up for cinematography too, if I had to guess, because I think that cinematography is mind blowing. I love that. That's such a cool way to shoot like a batter facing a pitcher.
Yeah.
I've never seen it like that.
Isolated like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It puts it into like a 1v1 situation. It's so cool. I don't know. I mean, and then you just talk about the script. The script is perfect. I think this is a perfect script, perfect screenplay, and it has a perfect ending. Perfect just across the board. I'm gonna do it. Tanner did it first, but I'm giving this a back-to-back 10.
Hey-o.
This movie, man, means a ton to me, and I've seen it so many times. Weirdly enough, even though it kind of ends on a bummer in a weird way with them losing, it's always been a comfort movie to me. It's just a movie that makes me feel good about like reaching for something above yourself, right? Like going, trying to reach your goals, whatever that might be, and you're going, okay, I'm gonna push myself. I might even have to push myself, further than I'm willing to or that I'm capable of. I'm gonna try it. And you still might come up short. It's not one of those movies that if this wasn't a real life story and they end up winning it all, that's kind of boring almost, right? Like, oh, well, this team sucks and they have to figure it out and then they end up winning it all. Cool. No, they still come up short. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Sometimes you still come up short. Does that mean you stop working? No. That's the idea. I love this movie. That's the last I'll say about it. I'll
Love it.
keep it somewhat brief, but yeah, 10 out of 10. I think this movie's phenomenal.
Nice.
Again, I think movie after movie that we review, I agree with all of you guys. I think the acting from all three of the top dogs in this movie are phenomenal. Brad Pitt, I can go on, but yeah, like you mentioned, like Jonah Hill breaking out of that comedic kind of stamp on him, and I saw an interview with him saying like, yeah, dude, I really wanted to nail this role. So like he read like this 1,000-page like analytic baseball book that he said he skipped a few pages, but but he said like, yeah, he really wanted to nail this part, and I think he nailed it, dude. Like him and Brad Pitt's chemistry, I love it. It's so fun, and he's so innocent looking. Like I mean, you take like Superbad or something like that, but like you take him in this role, like he's just so like quiet, but he's very present on screen as well. And I mean, again, great movie. Me personally, I do have to like it's a great score, so this is not even a knock, but like I'm giving it a 9. I think for what they did, from like you said, the inaccuracies, like if you told a completely accurate, it would be more of a documentary. It wouldn't, right. You couldn't tell it this like in the cinematic way as they did. So I mean, yeah, tough decisions to make on not maybe getting certain parts right or wrong, and making it more dramatic or cinematic, what have you. They did a great job. There are certain things that I could like say like that was kind of weird, or why'd they go there. Sure. But I mean, overall 9. I mean, great movie. One of my favorite just sports movie. I'm not sure if it's my favorite baseball movie because I'm a little biased there. Yeah.
A little teaser about that.
Oh, you got. I don't think anybody would agree. Like I think I
could guess.
No, wait.
Is it Major League?
It is Major League.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite too.
I'm biased. I love that so
Major
much,
League's
man.
good. Yeah.
Like
it is a great movie.
It's so good, but obviously more. It's a whole different vibe.
Yeah, it's
underdogs though, but yeah, completely different vibe. It's just too funny for me. But Moneyball though, it's great. I love it. Great movie. I do have some notes though of the inaccuracies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We'll
if you guys want to hear, because it's
just rattle them off.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll just scroll them like a Star Wars credit.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Okay. This one's pretty big though, because I know like this 2002 season is where they mentioned like them implementing sabermetrics, and a big stat of that was on base percentage. But I will say they dive more into stats as a whole and not just on base percentage to make decisions just solely off that alone. Sandy Alderson, the previous GM of the Oakland A's, and he's been around baseball. He's been with the Mets and other teams and whatnot forever. Well, anyways, he actually implemented sabermetrics for the Oakland A's in the early 80s. So this was already a thing. This did not just happen in 2002 by Peter Brand or his real counterpart of Paul. And so I think that's a bit misleading. It didn't just happen in 2002. It's been a thing within that organization alone for over a decade plus, almost 2 decades. I think that's kind of interesting of note. All these are just interesting to know. These are no like critiques. I think they're just cool kind of knowledge to know.
Like they don't hurt the film because that's not what the film is going for.
Right? No, exactly.
But
that's not the point.
It's not this stuff. It's hard to
revolves around baseball, but it's not a baseball movie. It's there's a whole lot more to it.
Exactly.
And
I like that you're kind of bugged by these things.
No, I think they're interesting.
I almost just find it odd.
I think that's interesting.
Because it's like when you're talking about a specific team.
Cinematically and storytelling wise, it wouldn't be fun if you told it in an accurate way. It would be pretty boring. It would be a documentary.
Let's hear it.
Let's keep going. So a bunch of the players that get overlooked on this 2002 team, they were not just some scrubs of a team. They had one of the best rotations in all of baseball going into the 2002 season. Barry Zito winning the AL Cy Young Award for 2002. We get Miguel Tejada winning the AL MVP shortstop in that season. Yes, Jason Giambi, losing him was big because he was the previous AL MVP winner. But they had a great young core. They had Eric Chavez, a Gold Glover third baseman. Great team. They had Jermaine Dye. I could go on and on about it. I don't know if you guys know the names, but these guys are great ball players. They were not just like going into this new season like just completely lost, like they were just gonna be like just the worst team. They were gonna be good. But like the acquisitions that they focus on were all accurate. All the ones in the offseason and stuff. I will say, although Jeremy Giambi was not. He was actually already with the Oakland A's in 2000. He didn't get signed. He was already in that organization for previous years. Although the run-ins with the police and stuff, his party behavior are accurate. He was a troubled guy. And when they traded him, that's accurate too. They did trade him when they traded him. Carlos Pena. They made it seem like, Art Howe is gonna play this guy instead of Hattenberg. Throughout the season, but he actually before they show him get traded in the movie, he had actually already been optioned to AAA for a month before that happened. So, and they mentioned that he was going to be like the AL Rookie of the Year. He wasn't. Hell, they put him down back to AAA. He wasn't bad, but he did switch around team. He was on like 5 teams before he landed like 4 years later on the Rays, where he actually had his breakout season.
Where he became Carlos Pena.
Yeah, when everybody kind of knew him as Carlos Pena. And so I think that's kind of interesting. They made it seem like, he's this great first baseman. He wasn't even on a team when they traded him. So
that's probably just good happenstance of like people being able, especially in 2011 when Pena is popping off as a Ray. Yeah. Like people can look at this movie and be like, he was trying to get Carlos Pena switched out for Hattenberg. Like as a 2011 viewer.
Oh yeah, and you got to build that Hattenberg signing up because it does set up. He does hit that walk off of the 20th win, and like you got to make it seem like, I get it. I get all the decisions made.
What else you got there?
So the actual Art Howe, he was pissed the way he was portrayed because he was never he was always on board with the Moneyball situation. He never had any disagreements with the decisions being made. So like him being portrayed as this guy that was not going to give in to this thing. I'm going to play my team the way I want to play because he's on his walk here, which is also untrue. He was already with the team 5 years prior. He had actually he was on a 2-year contract through the 2003 season. So 2002 was not his last season. He was already signed through the next season. So I think that it plays a big part, But he was,
this is Hollywood, buddy. Sorry,
but he was pissed. It was like, dude, like that's because he said, it's a big movie. Brad Pitt's in it. He's like, people are gonna see this movie and look at me as this guy that like was just bitter about everything, and like that's not how I was, and so like, and I could see that. That's understandable.
For sure.
You know,
I would
like,
be pressed too, but the movie
'cause
needed
not
to go.
everybody's not-
especially
everybody's
with the
gonna
added
know that.
context of this original film being under Soderbergh's direction, where he wanted Art Howe to be in the movie, like himself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's gone, oh wow, I'm gonna be a part of this big Hollywood movie with Brad Pitt, and I get to like play myself and tell this story. And then they go, actually, we're not doing that. Sorry, Art. We're gonna have someone play you. We're gonna have Philip Seymour Hoffman play you. And
Oh,
he's gonna,
they didn't even go to him before when the movie was made. That's why he was also pissed. They didn't even like. Ask
oh,
him
my
about it.
understanding was that was. I mean, maybe they didn't go to him, but I guess that was Soderbergh's plan. But so maybe that
no.
wasn't ran past.
Yeah,
Okay,
according to the
that
real
helps.
Art Howe, he said he was
Okay.
never contacted.
I guess
He
that
was
makes it a
just
little
kinda
better
pissed
because that was.
about
I
the
know that
whole
was
thing.
Soderbergh's plan to have him play himself and stuff.
And
So
a big thing, they actually, so Billy and the scouting team and stuff, they were great at drafting players for years. That A's organization, and still to this day, they very great at drafting players and scouting. So I think just the neglect of telling that and trying to acquire these misfit toys to complete their roster is a bit misleading. But again, storytelling wise, I think it's phenomenal. Like you have to make changes in order to make this a watchable and enjoyable movie. So I completely understand. It's no critique to really any choices, because it would be hard to tell it without any inaccuracies.
Yeah, I mean,
for
we're
it to be good.
cutting this whole part anyway. We don't want you to ruin the movie for everybody.
Sorry, I think that it's interesting. It's
No, it is,
interesting.
it is. Thank
And,
you.
know,
Thank you for sharing
I'm a
that.
big baseball guy. I had to do some
I know.
research, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's that's all I find is
Yeah.
interesting.
No,
No
I,
knock.
I like
no
it.
knock.
I like it.
No knock to Bennett. No
I'm
knock to anybody.
joking. I'm joking.
But I digress.
yeah.
I am done. I
All
will
right.
shut up.
All right. You
All
got
right.
anything else, Derrick?
I do not. No, I think
All right. I think
that
that'll
literally
yeah.
covers everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for Moneyball. Drop in the comments what kind of movies you would like us to review, if any. If you
Yeah.
like what
Drop
we're
it
doing.
below.
Yeah.
We need to know.
We'd appreciate it.
Otherwise, we're just gonna keep reviewing whatever
Yeah.
we want to watch,
Yeah.
and that might not be something you want to hear us talk about. So
Yeah.
let us know what you
So,
guys want us to talk about.
yeah.
We'll consider it.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Mr. Dean, my friend, take us out of here.
Thank you, Dean.
Hey, fans and subscribers of Backseat Filmmaking. Thank you, viewers, for watching. You need to like, subscribe, comment, and generally don't break bad on the comments, all right? Because I'm going to kick your butt, all right? You don't want the DE after your ass. So do all that and support Backseat Filmmaking.